And welcome back, everybody, to RPGs We Love 3. I'll be your host for the next little bit. My name is Pidge01, and we have Lufia 2 Ancient Cave Any Percent SNES by, you know what, I actually don't know how to pronounce your name.
No, a lot of people don't. I would say just stick with Ellison or Ellie for short.
Ellison, awesome. Well, I'm really excited for this because I love Lufia 2, but I've never gotten through the Ancient Cave, and this is going to be really fun. So just before we get started, the incentive for naming Maxim has closed. His name is going to be Link.
Link, okay. Just in your chat saying mics are a bit low, so I don't know if that's a thing you'll adjust here.
Yep. Do we sound better now?
I'm hearing, there he goes. Stream volume low, but I turned up halfway and it's good. Well, at this point, we could just start and wait for the rest of chat to tell us when things sound too bad that we need to adjust.
All right, let's go for it then.
I like that. All right, guys, as a quick heads up before we get started, apparently some donation incentive has been met, and therefore this run is going to be a very, very difficult run. You may have heard of this as titled Reject Percent, run by a famous speedrunner named Elmagus. You'll see any percent in the title, but Reject Percent is a much more appropriate title. What this means is it's going to be a bad run, but it's not as bad as Iris. So I need all of your RNGesus and Pray Blesses and whatever emotes you can get to give me all the support I need, and I'm set to give it a 10 count to get the show started if you are.
I am ready. Do you want me to count you down?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's do it.
Make it a 4 count because there's
4 count.
Numbers. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll do a 4 count. 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright guys, well welcome to the Ancient Cave. This is the main mode of the game. There is supposedly a campaign or something, but I just call that the DLC. The main story you have to actually unlock by beating the game twice, once in standard mode and once in retry mode. What we're doing here is we're taking a party with Darby, our little capsule monster of choice, and we're also taking Tia, Salon, and Lexus, classically referred to as the bad party members or the rejects. Traditional Any Percent has the game take Artie, Decker, and Guy, who are just very, very good party members for whatever the cases are. And we're going to go through a 100-floor, procedurally generated cave where chests, items, monster spawns, pretty much everything are, to a point, determined, but not very easy to identify. One thing that we're going to be doing is opening up almost all the chests that we can because we want to get our hands on some of the early stuff that's available. And we're also going to be killing some monsters in fights that we wouldn't normally do so, just to get a little extra experience. In a run like Reject Percent, the party members are weaker, so you need to get as much as you can in order to help keep them both alive and able to offer any sort of contribution. The reason that we're opening all the chests at this point is because, one, in the early batch of floors, there's certain items that spawn, and we want to get our hands on some of those, in particular elemental rings and accessories, things that we just normally don't have access to. And the other things that we'll get our hands on are spells, which can spawn on any floor. And spells is super duper important, in particular for people like Lexus and Tia, who have pretty good magical capabilities, but not the best physical offensive capabilities. We're also going to be relying on our pet Darby, who is a sort of fifth party member that we don't actually have control over. We have a little bit of control in that we can teach him sorts of moves to help him contribute in certain ways, but he's not going to be too bulky for the early parts of the run. He'll start shaking things up a little bit later on once he evolves, and we can do that by feeding him. Pets, of course, do like to be fed. I strongly recommend that you feed your cats or dogs at home if you haven't already done so today. And as he grows up, our little Darby is going to grow into a big, big disco celebrating wolf. And then pretty soon after that, he's going to do even more cool stuff by turning into an imp and possibly a dragon. We're hoping for that dragon because he comes with some pretty swag abilities. Number one, an offensive attack that is pretty much mandatory towards even completing this run to begin with. And number two, just a few other cool abilities that just help him contribute. We're going to be spending a lot of the time in this game running away from battles that have 4 enemies, because we just need to avoid battles since a lot of enemies early on in this cave either don't give us very much experience or are very difficult to kill. And the other reason that we're going to be running away from battles is because later on in the cave, enemies become just so incredibly difficult to kill that we, unless we find very specific items, just lack the ability to even take them out at all. The items that we need in that case don't actually appear until floor 3 and 4. Those are the deadly items, which only spawn in the Ancient Cave, and they don't appear in the main the DLC at all. So we're really hoping for anything that says deadly or fatal tick in its name. And we're also hoping for curse lifters, which you'll see in my tracker are pretty much represented in the entire middle row.
And also, I am here now, Ellie. Sorry about my delay hopping in there.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, so as jump back to that, there are 3 different deadly weapons we can get, 2 of which actually matter, and 1 is technically a lie. Deadly swords are actually in this game twice due to a translation error, and there's a good one and a bad one. The good one has a chance to instant kill enemies with an 80% likelihood. The bad one doesn't have that at all. It's just got decent power and high critical ratio, which in this game doesn't really do much of anything. The Deadly Rod is something that both of our ladies can use, and the Deadly Rod has also an 80% chance to kill, but the thing about that is that the abilities that come with uncursing a deadly weapon go far beyond that of just being able to equip something back into the sense of the cave. Ultimately, we're trying to travel 99 floors deep into the cave. We'll say 100 because of the floor that we walked in on, being sort of the hub. The jelly at the very end of the cave has 9,980 hit points, and we're kind of hoping to take him out. And in order to do that, we have 3 turns to do so. And in order to do that, we need weapons to do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. And Deadly Rods actually are very good at doing that.
Yeah. Now, when you did your general any percent run of this back during Speedrun Ragnarok, which I was very excited to be hosting on, get to actually help you with the actual commentary this time, that big key weapon you were looking for was the Dakar Blade, right?
Yeah, the Decker Blade is a big deal in this game because, one, it does upwards of 50 to 62.5% damage of the target that you hit per their current HP, which is just massive when you can assume that you're trying to deal thousands of points of damage in something that typically you aren't even doing even a single 1,000 points of damage. The Decker Blade in this context is entirely useless. In fact, it does have one use, and that is good pet food, but otherwise is pretty much entirely worthless. The best weapons that we have to deal incredible amounts of damage in this game challenge come in the form of the Myth Blade instead of the Decker Blade. The Myth Blade deals a little over 1/4 of an enemy's HP in terms of damage, and we're really, really hoping to get that. Honestly, without that, this run technically isn't possible. Well, I guess it is. There's a very, very specific combination of things that can help, but the Myth Blade is effectively mandatory, we'll say.
Gotcha. And is that something that... Floor 60, gotcha. And is it available as a rare drop from any enemies like some of those lucky finds are, or is it only chests?
Unfortunately, no. The rare drops in this game, in terms of value, come in the form of the Old Sword, which appears from very, very difficult to kill enemies called leeches. They're difficult to kill in this context because they're immune to the ability of instant death, and they have just a lot of HP, and I don't have very much access to holy gear or holy damage, unless I find a couple of very niche spells. The other thing that's kind of useful that's an enemy drop, though, which we will actually be kind of relying on later on, are accessories called either Cancer Rocks or Hydora Rocks. Yes, the one time in your life you will be praying for cancer is in watching this run. Cancer Rocks and Hydora Rocks effectively allow you to attack multiple times per turn. Cancer Rocks allowing you to attack twice per turn, and Hydora is 3. Hydora gives you a little bit of a power boost, where Cancer doesn't, so we're more hoping for that, even though it's harder to get that.
Do I have time to hop in with a couple donations?
Yeah, hop right on it.
Awesome. We have 2 very generous donations from Norimaki of $100 and $45, and respectively they say, Casual Hundo because Casual Hundo is the best way to play any game you want to play. Good luck to all of you runners, you're all amazing. Donation is in Shentalk's honor. And then the next donation says, Halfway Hype BT Dubs. Thank you very much for donating, Norimaki.
Gosh, any donations I appreciate in this game, or in this setting, so thank you very much for everybody out there. One thing that I'm going to highlight too in this cave is that we have to survive, and survival is really difficult in this game, so what I'm going to pray for is a little bit of support from the chat to throw out some RNGesus, and that we get some good survival stuff. We don't have an unlimited supply of magic or healing items, so if chat can throw some good fortune our way, and in the name of our hero, link us some good treasures and good success, then I'm going to need every little bit taken care of.
It is kind of funny. I do remember during your previous run of this, we were definitely egging on chat to troll you as badly as possible, forcing you to swap back and forth with your capsule monsters, because the rest of your team was so strong it wasn't much of an issue. But that reject percent, let's all get behind Ellie tonight. That, like, no room for cruelty when you're already having to run with this team.
Absolutely, and with this team being so strict, there are really a few things that you just absolutely need. We're opening every chest in these early floors specifically to get a couple of those elemental rings if possible. Ultimately, the Thunder Ring is the one we're after. We also need magic spells, which we just don't have a lot of access to variants if we're looking for different elements, just because we want to get everything we can get. We don't have access to holy magic at all outside of healing, which only hurts certain enemies. Most undead things are weak to healing in some degree, but not all of them, and the ones that we want to heal to death, most of them, we can't really heal them to death. I'm also killing eagles here. There are a couple of items in this cave that drop at very low percent. Eagles drop pretty decent rock called an eagle rock. It's an accessory that's, like I said, semi-decent. It has the ability to boost things quite a few stats by a little chunk, and it also gives you a decent IP ability. IP abilities are defined by being usable through that little yellow gauge that you see at the bottom of everybody's battle screen meter. You'll see green for HP, blue for MP. I'm sorry, blue for HP, green for MP, and yellow for IP. IP is built by taking damage, and the more damage you take, the faster it fills up. Additionally, the more IP meter fill you have, the better stuff you can typically do. Certain weapons, like the Myth Blade or the aforementioned Decker Blade, they consume 100% of your IP, which means you need to get beat up a lot and you can't die, otherwise you lose the whole thing. Other things, like Deadly Rods, Elemental Rings, etc., they have IP abilities that only consume portions of it, so we're always looking to get some more IP, but we don't always need a ton of it until we get to the very end. The girls lack a lot of the bulk that's required to maintain it, especially when dealing with stronger enemies, so we do want to try to minimize how much pain we take later on, which means around the 60s to 70s, we're going to try to cap off our IP and take as little damage as possible, and or run away from fights that we can't end within almost an instant.
And then, of course, invariably, something hits you too hard, and then you do die, and then you constantly try to find, a bronze dragon or something that does just enough damage without going over Price is Right rules to grind those IP back up.
Yeah, the elemental dragons they're referred to, they're scary, and the copper dragon is the only one that we can actually handle. We have to pray that we're at a high enough level to deal with it, otherwise we're just going to die anyway. They come in 3 forms, copper, silver, and gold, and we'll talk about them more as we progress through. All I have to tell you, though, is that they can go potentially multiple times, they can wallop your entire party, and They're incredibly difficult to kill, having thousands of HP, where most of the people on our team barely have the ability to deal over 400 per hit. Even in the context of a very, very highly leveled party, I'm not getting very much stuff early on. An interesting thing we'll find here, you'll see you can chop bushes. I've got a sword. And certain bushes hide heal tiles under them. They heal your HP. They do not heal your MP. And like I said earlier, MP is a massive commodity in the context of this run, simply because you don't have an easy way to restore it. There's a couple of pieces of equipment that have an IP ability that will restore your magic points. There is maybe 4 or 5 different combinations of items that will restore MP, and that's pretty much it. So you really got to take care in using your magic points reliably and carefully, and the best way to do that is to, one, learn efficient spells that heal or deal a lot of damage for a low MP cost, and the other is to just try to find Water Gauntlet. Try to find a bunch of items that heal you and or restore your MP through a variety of ways. Items we're looking for in particular in that case are called Miracles. Miracles heal a ton of HP. They heal you through complete HP and complete MP, so we're relying on those more than anything else. They also bring you back to life if you die, which makes it one of 2 different finds. You also just saw me pick up a blue chest. Blue chests in this game are extremely important because, one, they come packaged with very rare items of varying value, typically very high value. The other reason is because some of the things in there make things just very, very possible. There's one in particular that we're looking for called a Water Spear, which Lexus gets to use. Unfortunately, Lexus isn't too powerful, but a Water Spear gives him a lot of damage potential. You can find armor in there, you can find accessories in them, and it's entirely possible that we'll find certain things that we just cannot equip. It's unfortunate but hilarious when you find a chest item like a Gades Blade or something and you just can't do anything with it.
You did mention you did just get a Water Gauntlet from that blue chest, and so what value does that offer your team in this context?
Water Gauntlet's really high. The cave features really, really high preference towards having the agility stat capped for anyone that can use it. Tia in this run is our fastest person. She will therefore, when paired with a deadly rod, have the potential to kill stuff very quickly. Outspeeding enemies is important, and if you have a deadly rod and a Water Gauntlet and maybe 1 or 2 other rare blue chest items, then she can outspeed some of the most threatening enemies in particular. The things that we're looking out for are key points of agility. Mostly 170 agility is something we're really praying for, and we can do that if we get the Water Gauntlet and also potentially an Aqua Helm, which has the possibility of appearing, although not a very high possibility. They both give +10, and she roughly has about 120 to 130 agility by the point we find points in which we need that magic number. The other things that we're looking for, we can actually find as we go through the cave. They include a Twist Jewel, which is a drop as well as a blue chest item, and that boosts agility by 30. You can imagine what that does when paired with the other things. And we're also going to be looking for anything else specifically agility boosting. There are a couple of weapons that do. For Tia, not too much, but for Salon, who's got a couple of decent alternatives towards agility boosting weapons, a Dragon Spear notably, and also what's her other option? Just a Twist Jewel in general. Accessories pretty much everybody can use, and we're always hoping for them because we just want that flexibility. There's another accessory type called rings, which get their own specific category of equipment, and again, pretty much everyone can use any ring that we find. So we'll find a ring maybe called a C ring, which is nice, and if we find that, then, well, awesome. Blue chests and their contents can appear on any floor, so where certain things only start appearing as you progress through the cave, other things appear at any point. So, I'm sorry, blue chests actually help us at any point. We're praying around this portion of the cave for cores. If you're familiar with Dragon Quest, then you know about metal slimes. We like them because they give a lot of experience. In 3 different floors of this cave, there are good weapons coming up. there are cores, and cores are just incredibly good because even though they have a high chance of running away, they, like I said, give a ton of experience, and we want that experience so that way we can, well, have stats to survive. They may not appear at all, and again, that's just the context of this procedurally generated, almost random dungeon. And even if they do, it's entirely possible that they run away. So we can hope for the best. I do have a core tracker. I would definitely suggest keeping an eye on that. Killing cores can also be kind of a challenge, but unfortunately we have found the Bolt spell, and Bolt allows us to circumvent the big challenge of killing cores quickly. Because cores like to run away, they are difficult to pin down, and because they have an incredibly high defense stat, they're difficult to kill by just sheer force alone. Fortunately, their magic defenses are sort of inverted. In that way, they overflow progressively as the game goes on, and therefore, even the wimpiest magic spell will kill them in a single hit.
That was so remarkably rude. Like, one moment, we're excited that the cores are sticking around. The next moment, oh. Dang, Lexus.
Yeah, fortunately, we have a lot of miracles, which is something I almost never have, but it just goes to show you that even after getting a bunch of safety kills, you never are prepared to deal with everything that the game has to offer. They don't usually gang up on one person like that. You can imagine it's just highly unlikely, so we're mad at them for that, of course.
And now, were you excited a moment about the coma hit you got?
Yeah, the coma hit is a weapon that only Lexus can use as a tool, and as a man of science, we of course value his proficiency with tools. A couple of tools have the ability to hit multiple enemies at once, and because tools in this cave come extremely early, the coma hit in particular, it's a very powerful multi-hitting weapon. One, it saves a frame by not having to be requiring you to select who it is that you want to target, because it just auto-targets all enemies. But the other thing is that it hits everything just really hard, so we want to capitalize on that. The others that we can get include a launcher, and I can't remember what the other one is called. That's another tool. I think it's a Figuroo. It's another tool that's got about equal power to the coma hit, but again, we just want to really capitalize on that power.
Oh yeah, the Figuroo, named after the engineer king of Edward from Final Fantasy VI, right?
If you want to go that far, sure. I think it was.
Oh, that's Figaro. I'm sorry, I had it mixed up.
I would just chalk it up to a translation error if it just happens to work out. We're getting lucky with these cores here. Unfortunately, they're sucking some sucking T as MP away, and I don't want to burn things to heal up. These guys only have 10 HP, so I'm just going to try to beat them down a little bit. And now that we've gained a couple of levels and our team has some decent weapons, we can usually kill 1 or 2 without too much effort, so I'm going to just beat them down. Our next stop for cores is in the 30s, so we're going to be pretty content with the 3 red cores that we just found, and we'll hope for a couple of more later on.
Yeah, so chat, be keeping an eye out around floor 32 through 34. That's when the blue ones will start poking up.
Yep, and they come in 4 forms. Red, of course, being the simplest. They drop 2,222 experience per kill. Blue cores, for context, give 5 times what one single red core gives, and green cores give 3 times experience of what a blue core gives. So you can see the value in getting, just a couple of simple kills here and there from cores later on. The no cores, which they don't have a core, they come in the upper 50s, and they give 55,000 experience per kill, and that 55k is just a big deal. Sometimes just having a high enough amount of levels gives you just enough bulk that you need to survive getting whopped by some of the things that are just constantly trying to hammer you down. Chat, if you haven't seen it yet, you're about to laugh.
There it is.
There it is. It wouldn't be a reject percent run without a Gades Blade. Gades Blades are great. They have an IP ability that lets you hit 8 times per hit, and it's got decent power. It's wonderful when dealing with the jelly because it can deal upwards of 25 to 3,000 damage per use of its ability, and I mean, it can only be done once, but still it's a lot of damage. Of course, only Guy and Dekar can use it, and we don't have them. So at this point, it is just pet food.
I would try to do my best RPG chick impression here at Wells, but I'm going to try to keep commentary standards a little better behaved right now, at least.
Well, fortunately, I'll give you something else to be happy about. We did find ourselves a different item. It was in the form of a spell, and it's called Valor. Valor is the better of the 2 revival spells that you can get. Number 1, it heals whoever it revives for full. Number 2, it's pretty potent in hurting undead enemies. It's quite expensive at 30 MP, so we'll try not to use it very often, but when we do, it's going to always be good at helping out. Additionally, with pretty much all spells, you can target multiple targets with them, and it can heal your entire party for 500, which is super helpful. This is a quick form of powerful healing. And number 2, it can sometimes even revive people if you multi-target at a 25% chance or 50% chance. It depends on how many people you target. So it can help in a variety of ways. We also found Fake. That spell boosts agility, which will be useless in this run except for one very specific enemy. Something else we're going to keep an eye out for, just for kicks at this point. We're at floor 15. Floor 15 is where the Decker Blade appears, and the Decker Blade is the second of the 2 pretty much most wonderful / mandatory items you can get for a general 90% run. Different weapons and different armors spawn on different sets of floors, and once they start appearing, they just remain in the pool forever, with the exception of accessories and shields, and most helmets too. It's kind of weird, but I would just chalk it up to this game being programmed by a bunch of monkeys over at Taito. That after floor 9, accessories and such just stop spawning. I really don't understand why. Now, we just found a title jewel, and title jewels are pretty much useless. The defensive stats that you can get in this game, they come in the form of defense and magic defense, or magic resistance, or MGR, as you'll see the stat in the stat menu. MGR is not very good. Every 4 points of MGR reduces damage by 1 from magical spells. Every 2 points of defense reduces damage from enemies by 1 from a melee hit. And in that sense, you can kind of envision HP being a better stat to have than defensive parameter-based stats. So Tia and Salon, who barely have any HP, and Lexus, who starts with almost none to begin with, they have an uphill battle.
Oh, and in case, uncertain if Meat Streams in the chat was being sarcastic or earnest, but yeah, the healing spells in this game aren't necessarily named the way you would expect. Stronger is just HP restoration. It's not actually any kind of strength boost.
No, many of the spells in this game, much like spells if you played a Phantasy Star game, are named in just kind of strange ways. Get ready for another laugh, chat.
Wells?
Guys, we've got to run. What can I say?
Successful, wonderful, successful any percent run. Wait, I'm being told the reject? Oh no.
If this was any other run, I'd consider leaving and restarting. Unfortunately, you can't. Blue chest items, when you exit the cave through a safe mean by using a Providence to escape, you can take your blue chest stuff with you. The red chest things don't come with you, which means you can't leave the cave with the Decker Blade and re-enter with it. So unfortunately, we cannot leave and come back in with the Decker Blade if something bad happens. Now, we did get a good laugh out of it, and of course, like I said, it's a reject percent, so it's going to happen. We could leave potentially with the Gades Blade, though. Again, we obviously aren't going to. We need every minute we can get. But it's just something to consider. The other chests that will start spawning at this point now, we're going to get a variety of things of varying use. The 20s don't offer us too much in terms of high value. We're still hoping for a Curse Lifter, which could appear on any floor. And we're still hoping for a Deadly Rod, which appears starting on floor 4. We'd like to get 2 of them, but we'll settle for 1. We also found the Gale spell. Spells in this game come in 4 different flavors of elemental damage. There's Fire, Water, Ice, and Thunder, plus Holy. The Gale is the weakest ice spell that we have access to, but it's also the cheapest spell that we have right now, so it's great at killing cores. We want spells to target cores just to be able to kill them easily and quickly, so having Gale is useful, even though it really doesn't serve any use outside of killing cores at this point.
Hey, Pidge, were you about to say something? Do we have some donations?
Yeah, I was gonna ask if I can hop in with some donations. They've been sitting here for a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely, hop on whenever you need.
Awesome. We have $25 from Casual Geek Dave that says, happy to donate to some of my favorite friends. Thanks for another amazing marathon and have a blast at Limit Break. And I also want to thank the Scruffington for giving gifting a sub earlier. As a reminder, you are currently watching RPGs We Love 3, the annual RPG Valkyries fundraising marathon. All donations accepted during the marathon will go directly to the RPG Valkyries to pay for accommodations, airfare, and necessary additional expenses such as food at the event, taxes, etc. Because we did get several of us that got runs accepted into RPG Limit Break, as we found out today, which is awesome. And any leftover funds will be donated directly to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is the selected charity for RPG Limit Break. Get some more donations in if you can.
Congratulations for making it through. I didn't actually know that there were accepted into RPGLB, so that's really fabulous.
And as far as getting those donations in spite of it doesn't just go to a good cause of getting our Valk friends to Limit Break. You also get to torment our runners like we're doing to poor Ellison here with Reject Percent. I'm sure there are some plenty cruel incentives coming up that can be met for the rest of this marathon. It is just getting started.
I don't think there's a single incentive more evil that you could donate towards anyone having in this entire run as there is of what was donated here for Reject Percent. I just want to stress again, the context of what we just found, we almost already have the Jelly Kill in the context of a general any percent run. Like, we are maybe 2,000 points off, and all we need are a couple of very common weapons to do that. The any percent run features Guy, Decker, and Artie, and right now we don't have anything for Artie or Maxim. The other run that we are doing right now, Reject, I don't have anything at this point that's really helpful outside of the spell I just found called Dragon, which is only slightly helpful at best.
And we do have a question in chat asking what's Reject Percent. Do you want to hit that, or you want me to go ahead and hit the high notes on it just to catch people up?
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. Driving the point home, the Reject party is Lexus, Tia, and Salon. They are the three unequivocal worst people. Nice find I just got, by the way. The worst party members lack ability to do incredible damage against the Jelly, and therefore make optimizations of kills at the very end of this really difficult. They're kind of okay at getting you there, but unless you have very specific equipment, which I'm finding some nice things right now, but they're just not, the things that we're really craving. It's just an uphill battle from the very, very start. They're the most likely to die on the way, and even though they're the most likely to kill stuff on the way, unless you find the very rare stuff that they actually need, you're, like I said, struggling the entire way.
But now that twist jewel you got was one of the items you mentioned earlier that's really great for getting agility up on your Tia for this run, right?
Yeah, it absolutely helps for everybody to have agility. Typically, your slowest party member is the person you want to get agility for, and the fastest, in order to help ensure run away from enemies or flee, which you'll see I've been doing quite a bit. The ability to go before your enemies, too, is just always important. And Tia, being the fastest person we've got, is the person that we really just want to give that speed to. It incentivizes that we set up people in such a way that they can be prepared to outturn enemies, even if anything, to just defend, and therefore have a little bit more bulk, even if you can't run away from them, which is going to be really good for Tia, because we want her to build her IP, and she can't do that in too many ways. So her actually defending against some of the stronger enemies by outspeeding them virtually doubles her bulk, and is therefore super helpful. I think I've got chat open on my other screen. I saw Wells posted something up, so I really appreciate him having that copy paste or copy pasta available. So thank you for that, Wells. Now that we're in the 20s, we're finding some scary enemies. We gotta look out for bees, which you see buzzing around my screen right now. Bees are very quick. They tend to outspeed you. They do have a decent drop, although finding a twist jewel means we don't need to worry too much about the bee rock that we could get from killing bees. There's 4 different bees, and only 2 of them even drop the bee rock, and it's only a 10-15% drop, so we're not too much in a hurry to try to find one. There's certain enemies that we're also going to try to avoid combat in these floors. The little fire bouncing chicks that you just saw running around, they're called pugs. They're actually something we might consider. Because we did find the dragon spell, and dragon is, well, as you would guess, a spell that includes a dragon, but it just so happens to be a water dragon, which is effective against fire enemies. Gee, I feel like I've heard this before once in a Pokemon game. Fortunately, all spells can multi-target, and it's a pretty cheap spell, being as powerful as it is for this portion of the cave. And there aren't too many enemies that are weak to fire. I'm sorry, weak to water. So if I see another batch of them, I might try to use it just to get a little extra safety experience. We do want to kill those blue cores again for XP, but I don't want to drop a ton of MP in order to do so. So I'm going to try to be a little bit cheap with my MP at this point.
And I assume another reason why there's such high demand is that when you are doing any percent, two of your main characters are just beating things down. Here you have basically a team of 4 mages that all have MP that you have to manage over the course of the entire 99 floors.
You could say that. There is one more mage that we could have brought, but we didn't. That's Artie. Of course, Artie isn't allowed to run. The mages that we have in particular, Lexus is the best mage because the power of science is incredible, and therefore having that intelligence that always makes your spell damage better. The probably the next best is Tia, just because of her sheer speed. Salon and Maxim are unfortunately not that great of mages, so we kind of want to rely on them more for their physical capabilities, even though Salon is very bulky. She's still pretty good at dealing some good melee damage. You of course notice that we're picking up things, and certain people can equip certain things. Salon has the highest range of equipable gear out of everybody in the cave. So we do kind of need to take advantage of her ability to equip almost anything to power our way through. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in situations where, of course, we don't have access to what we want to, well, have or wear, or have anybody wear. The Gator's Blade, of course, again, we cannot equip, which is unfortunate, but most of the other blue chest things, at least she can use, which, again, is helpful in some ways. Now, we found the Mist Rapier. That's a pretty good weapon. It's one of the more powerful weapons that Salon actually has access to, and we may actually have her use that at the jelly if we don't find a Lizard Blow or a Super Sword. The reason for that is because the weaponry that we're finding, some of their IP abilities have the ability to deal 3 times per attack power damage, and the Mist Rapier is one of them. It's one of the more powerful ones that does so. If you can't deal incredible damage through a percentage-based attack, then you want to have a high damage multiplier for yourself. The Mist Rapier is like one of the top 5 in the best, and the others are either way better or just barely better. And the Mist Rapier is honestly respectable. I think I have that in my PV of any percent for this cave.
Not to dwell on the sadness, but at this point I believe we've not found a single cursed weapon for insta-killing enemies. Is that right?
No, we have not. We have not found a cursed anything, which is extremely unfortunate. The fact that we haven't found anything cursed, there are a couple of things that you could get that are cursed that are effectively useless, other than pet food, of course. Those are Berserk Blades. But other than that, we're not really looking for cursed things. There are some cursed weapons that are garbage. Those are luck weapons. Lucky Rapier and Lucky Blade. Those are either inequipable by us or they're just not good. So we do need to be careful about accidentally equipping one of them, although we pretty much never will. Lexus can use the Berserk Blade, and in a pinch it can work. But other than that, the other cursed stuff that we're finding is just not good. There's also a cursed shield, though, that we could find called a Dark Mirror, which is in a blue chest. That may actually come in handy. Dark Mirror anybody can use. It gives incredible defensive parameters. It prevents against instant death. There's our first Zap, which nobody can use. The only spell in the cave that my run currently has that nobody can use. So we're praying for Dark Mirrors just because they're really, really good. I found an Apron Shield, which in this game translates to a Holy Shield. And we're happy about that because Maxim gets a lot of bulk from it.
As someone who likes cooking, I can see the similarity.
Yep. Now, that has nothing to do with the frying pan, which we just picked up, I think, 2 of back to back. There's something with this game's code that kind of replaces stuff that you might normally find with aprons. So if you find a surplus of aprons through the adventures in the ancient cave, then it's because you're probably getting glitched into them. You also may see on my screen right now, or just in a couple of seconds now where we are chat, that there's a couple of blue chests on the screen, and I'm not getting them. Why isn't he getting blue chests? Oh my gosh, Ellie's so dumb. He could pick up great items. Those are not good things. This game has mimics, and red mimics we found way early on. They're not terribly threatening. They're just annoying to deal with. Blue mimics, on the other hand, are incredibly threatening, and they have the potential to end you almost immediately if you give them the option. We're going to try our best to stay away from them as possible.
Oh, and Reflect was a little sad that you didn't sing Figaro when you got it, so I think if another one pops up, I think you're obligated.
I'll have to do that. That's not something I normally do, but for Reflect, I'll entertain them.
Did someone pin a kick me sign on on Lexus this run? I'm feeling bad for him. I get he's a nerd, but stop picking on him.
It's sad. I may let me see. You can see he's got more defense and more magic resistance than Salon. And Tia, because she has that Water Gauntlet, helps make her a little bulky. I may actually swap her to the front. But typically he does not die this frequently. I got a regain here, and the regain restores your life with 100 points. It's useful in that we don't need to use a miracle, which also restores MP to a person that may already have full MP when you revive them. You don't want to waste that MP recovery option. So you got to be careful with how you are in terms of being stingy. I'm also not casting Valor if I can help it, because while it's useful, it doesn't always help. Just because it's not giving me, well, MP. In fact, it costs MP, and I don't have a ton of MP restoratives to spare. Uh-oh, we found our first boss of the cave. So chat, just keep your eye on that.
Oh, yeah, we just caught up to the to that wonderfully placed blue mimic. Beautiful.
And we don't actually have to fight it. Certain enemies, blue mimics in particular, they don't move, and they don't have a back, so you can't get a surprise attack on them. Certain enemies, you'll of course notice that they move around while I'm swapping my sword. I'm making enemies like these gnomes on my screen, which you'll see in a moment, move in ways that I can kind of manipulate by holding a direction and then swapping a sword to pretend that I'm moving and trick the AI into thinking that I'm actually walking when I'm not. Other enemies move when you move. They just bumble about randomly. Some enemies will charge at you with extreme prejudice. All sorts of things can help bring enemies closer towards killing you. Blue mimics, though, they're scary because they don't move, and if they park themselves in front of a door, or worse, on top of the stairs, which can very frequently happen, you could just say that could be a game over. They have an incredibly powerful target all attack that even with my decently powered up Tia, I would just have nothing to do but die. And other people, just even our bulky people, could usually die. 3 of them, such as Dekar and Guy, who we didn't bring. We didn't find any blue cores on floor 32, but we're praying for them on 33 and 34 here, so whip out your RNGesus if you can, and give me anything blue that you can also include with that RNGesus emote, and pray that we get at least 1 blue core coming up.
Do I have time for another donation?
Absolutely.
Excellent. We have $25 from Margaret Ann that says, "I love you, Natara and Hex." We love Margie too. Thank you, Wildcat, for gifting a sub. And just as like kind of a update on some upcoming incentives we have for Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan Setsu Fight the Secret Boss, that is currently at $12 out of $89, and that run is happening in about 4 hours. So if you want to see that incentive get met, get your donations in as soon as you can.
Well, I think I just saw Inven post an RNG with a blue heart, and we just got ourselves 2 blue cores. That's incredible, because 1 is typically all you really want, but in a run like this, you need everything you can get. 2 blue cores means that we get 22,000 experience, and that obviously gives us a lot of levels. We're level 20 right now, which is just gigantic. And you saw if you watched how much damage one passive bolt did to Maxim. We were kind of getting to the point where that would be a scary amount of damage. So we're happy to have an extra, 5 or 6 levels under our belt. Now we've got one more level of blue cores, and we're actually going to be looking for enemies that aren't cores to kill. We don't have too much in the way of fire damage, but there's an enemy coming up, again, that cancer enemy that I was talking about that is weak to fire. And if we kill them, we might get a cancer rock, which is that accessory that's just very helpful. They appear from 35 to 37, so we do have a couple of chances to find them. And again, that's not mandatory, but it's a backup option that we have for dealing with the jelly later on, and also a couple of enemies that we might see later on in the cave. It's not something we want to rely on, but any option is an option, and they're, with being so limited choices, we want to take everything we can get.
Maybe instead of fighting these enemies, just quickly train your other team how to use those the Gades and the Decker blades. Yeah, just gain a new proficiency, right? That's a oh no.
Well, it probably weighs as much as half of my other party members, unfortunately. To get the Gades blade in the DLC of the game, you need to kill the super boss of the game, Gades, which is typically one of those fights that you would think are scripted for you to lose, but with a little bit of additional effort, you can struggle to just barely swing by with a kill. If you kill him, you get his weapon. Early on, it's a big deal to have. Guy can use it early on because he's in your party at that point, and when you have it, it's just very helpful. We just found a cancer. I'm going to kill it here in just a second. Cancers, Garbos, they are weak to fire, and they're also weak to weapons that are considered to be of the hard element, which doesn't really have an element type. It's just something that's effective against things that are, well, hard. So that pounder rod that we gave Tia does so happen to be of the hard element, and therefore did effective damage. So once again, you can see why Tia, in my opinion, is a party member that you really shouldn't consider a reject because she's just so darn good. But the community seems to think otherwise, so we are considering her a reject for this run. The Camu Jewel that we just found a moment ago is decent. It has a nice arrangement of spell power, but it's not anything that you'd write home about. It boosts offensive stats by a little bit, but it doesn't boost speed at all, and speed is the big driving factor of why we equip half of the things that we equip. The other thing that's useful about the Camu Jewel, though, is that in the DLC, it can be sold for a ton of money, and you can actually bypass a lot of just other requirements that the game may have to offer if you can just buy your way through needing things that you wouldn't normally kill enemies to grind out that money for. Of course, we're not in the DLC, so it's just, well, a little bit of an attack stat boost. Now, coming up after the floors that we're in with the Garbosts that we're looking at right now, we're going to see some interesting enemies. The enemies I'm referring to are one of my least favorites, and those are Assassins. Assassins, not to be confused with Assassins, are very quick. They'll likely outspeed everybody, even Tia, with all of her agility from the Water Gauntlet. And they have the first one-hit KO physical ability that you encounter. At this point from the cave, I'm going to try to enter the stairs from the bottom every single time because of how enemies are loaded in. We don't want Assassins to get the one-up on us, like we just saw here. They're very scary, they're quite powerful, they hurt a lot, and again, they have that ability to just hurt your entire party. They're using Terminal Blow here on Salon, which, spoiler alert, you just saw. Because they're so fast, and they almost always come in threes from what I've discovered, or just noticed from playing this game, they're scary, and they're just something you don't want to deal with.
Yeah, when those ran across the screen, I may or not nearly jumped out of my chair. Like, it... my heart!
Well, you're going to be thinking that later on, too. There's a recolor of these guys called Ninjas. Ninjas are way worse. We can thank Darby for a little bit of help here. He confused them. Ninjas can go twice per turn, or they can do an attack all spell, which is just a brutal spell. careful here. Sorry about this, just thinking about how to prep up. Because they charge you with just ridiculous urgency, like they've got someplace to go and you stole their purse at the restaurant or trying to front the bill or something. Assassins and ninjas, you pretty much always want to turbo the stairs first. You have the ability to, when you cross into a new room, you're going to see me hugging the doors at a couple of points, and that's because I want to just find out if there's anything in the room, because if they get a side attack on you, it's entirely possible that you could get a game over, and we don't want to have that be an option. Ninjas appear in the mid-40s, and once we pass them, we're effectively past the biggest threat. They're way harder to kill, though. We'll need to whip out some magic and a couple of other decent target all enemy options, so we're going to try our best to kill them, but we may actually have a game over by fighting them later on. Assassins appear from 37, 38, and 39, so we don't need to worry as much about them. Again, because one, they only go one time per turn, and two, they are an enemy type that we can deal with. Fortunately, the game does show you a little bit of mercy by giving you access to cores. Really close to where these guys are. The blue cores that we just fought earlier that gave us a big chunk of XP help you out a ton. The next core that we find is going to be green cores, and they appear in the 3 floors before ninjas actually appear. So if we find any of them, it's going to be a huge boon just to have all that additional EXP, and therefore agility for Tia to outspeed them, bulk in terms of HP, etc. So we're going to be praying with green hearts in exactly 1 floor from where we are. You'll actually notice quite a bit in the cave change too in just a moment. We're in kind of what looks like a dungeon or a basement with a dirt floor. That's going to change here. When we started the cave, it was just kind of like a lobby, and then we walked in. Things changed a little bit more, where things look like this basement. We're going to be looking for a little bit more of a difference coming up here, and that is the cave turning into something that looks more like a cave in just a moment. That is going to be the next 60 floors of the cave pretty much, so get used to seeing dirt on dirt, because that's just what this place looks like.
And also, even though once we do get to the ninjas and get past them, like, they're still jerk monsters too, but they're a lot more easy for Ellie to manipulate, instead of just, well, if you're in a room with them, they're beating you to it, you know?
Well, one of the jerk enemies is this Hydra. If you remember, I talked about getting a Hydora Rock or a Hydra Rock. Don't laugh at my pronunciation, that's intentional. The Hydras, they just kind of meander about randomly, they don't really go anywhere. Intentionally. The Hydras themselves, they can, on these floors, attack all of your party members with a single hit, and they're pretty powerful, so you want to be careful with them. Later on, the Hydras that we find, they're going to be able to either deal a lot more damage to us, or they can attack more than 1 time per turn. The flying Hydras that we find eventually will be able to attack up to 5 times per turn, and as you can imagine, that's just going to be a big thing to avoid, because who wants to get hit 5 times by something that, well, hurts in general? Not me. So as you can see on the left side of my screen here, in just a moment, we're going to be finding a pretty interesting enemy. The enemy in question is a... what was it, guys? What they were looking for? Green thing?
Hey, I put the bless and the green heart in the chat.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I need all the help I can get, and you're definitely contributing, man. The green cores, if they stick around, they give us a ton of XP. If they run away, they give us 0, and it's unfortunate when it happens, but it pretty much always happens, so... sorry, chat. The Hydras I was talking about, though, right now they're coming in their weakest flavor. The later flavors are, of course, more scary. There is eventually going to be a Hydra that's not actually called a Hydra, called an Orky. Orkies can either attack you 8 times, or they can cast a spell, which just really hurts. You kind of want that spell, because if you get hit by a party of 2 Orkies 8 times, I don't think there's a party setup that could allow you to survive 16 hits. even if you were to have a completely decked out with blue chest gear party, prepared down to the teeth, I just don't think it's possible.
So, side question: you may not have gotten deadly rods, but I believe you do have the.
Sorry, chat, you'll see in about 10 seconds.
Gotcha.
Something amazing.
Oh, I completely blame Wells for this. Okay, so no deadly gear, but we got these 2 Gades blades. Maybe if like 2 different characters each got a hand on it, all 4 of them together could swing it, maybe?
What I would give for that. What I would give just to see that. Oh man, I also found a Ruse armor. Ruse armor is a lady-only armor. It's very good, because I found the Water Gauntlet for Tia, and that's just a super good armor option for her. You saw I gave Salon the Ruse. Lexus doesn't have too much in the way of available options for armor that he can equip, so I'm going to give him anything else I can find, although I don't know what it actually will be. But I'm praying for something. Preferably a Dark Mirror, just because it's something that everybody can equip, and therefore that includes Lexus. He has the most limited option of available armor choices and weapons, so very sad.
Well, Ellie, I was going to ask why you didn't want that green core in the party room, but I guess this seems to be the better option.
Yeah, we'll take the course that we can get, and what we just happened to find was a room with 2 cores. I don't have 30 minutes to spend in that room, and it is entirely possible I could spend 30 minutes in there. Getting a blue and a green is super helpful. This will pump my party up to like level 23 or so. Incidentally, after I get past the green 4 floors, I'm going to introduce everyone to lunchtime. We're going to see Darby go through a little stage of puberty here, and perhaps get himself to a stage in which he can be getting a little bit more aggressive. Of course, you can't fight big scary dragons, ninjas, or other edgy monsters without a full stomach, though, so we're going to take advantage of that when we can.
Oh, and you may not have found deadly rods, but I believe you have that destroy spell, right? Just how? Ooh, also second twist jewel, nice. How effective is that as like a stopgap measure if it's just literally the only insta death you have?
The benefit to having, well, any deadly rods is to boost up your instant kill chances by a ridiculous amount, that being 80% per hit. The destroy spell has a 50% chance to kill a single target. It can be spread to multi-target, but unfortunately if you do that, you actually cut your accuracy down on what you would be able to kill. So you do want to be careful with how your multi-targeting works in that case. Sometimes it's worth it just to try, but it doesn't usually work. We got 1 extra red core. Hey, like I said, every little bit helps. There's also an item called a Terror Ball. Terror Balls additionally can effectively do what is cast with Destroy, only as a single target, so it's not as helpful. The benefit there is that if you don't have MP, or if you just lack the kill power, or for your party members that lack the ability to really do instant kill stuff like Guy and Dekar, and also Artie, who's a holy mage, not a killing mage, they can't really cast destroy spells, so it gives them an option. The funny thing about this entire party is that everyone can cast destroy, so it does give a little bit of universal instant kill, even though it's inefficient. It is something, so it's not like we're going to be completely out of the water. There is also the Perish spell, which I think I picked up, but I can't actually remember at this point. Perish has a... Oh, there's a ninja up there, you see him? Oh, wait a minute.
He's hiding in the trees, so...
No, he's not. He's hiding on the stairs, folks. Oh, boy. Well, we talked about having fun, but we might be ready to give up having fun right now. It's going to be a pretty scary operation to get through this portion of the cave. See what I can do here. We're going to have to probably push out our big damage options. Fighting ninjas at all is scary. Getting to this ninja in order to kill it is going to be even scarier. That red plant standing next to it is also pretty frightening, although there are other things that we could do about it. The ninja itself has, well, let's see, I think it has like 130 agility, so Tia can outspeed it at this point. Without a really good holy weapon, or just something that does a lot of damage, or I'm sorry, without a deadly weapon or something that does a lot of damage, I'm going to have a hard time actually killing it, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try having her use Destroy.
Not to, I am aware we are on the clock, but is there any situation like this where taking advantage of that Providence would actually be something to consider with how much blue gear you found?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
If it were not if it were an any % run, I'd be feeling a lot better about doing that, but I just don't have the time. I can't make it down there within an hour, so I'm just going to have to fight through. What I'm going to do here is, like I said, take advantage of lunchtime. I wasn't planning on doing it right this minute. I was kind of hoping to go a little bit further. But, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. What you'll see me doing is feeding specific foods to my little pet here. The specific things I feed are going to be in an order that helps maximize, or at least extend the amount of benefit I get from being able to feed. You can only feed certain foods to your pet, and only certain foods actually do anything. If they get used to eating expensive food, then they're not going to want to eat cheap food. And food in this game feeds your pet based on pretty much the more expensive the stuff is, the more value that they get out of it. So you want to feed your cheaper stuff early on, and then your more expensive stuff as you go, so that way you're not stuck with all your big expensive food already down the drain. It's something, unfortunately, that takes time to learn, and you just get used to it through a process of trial and error. You could look at a price chart, but it's going to add hours to what you do. And because equipment in this game sorts by item type, more or less, weapon, armor, etc., you're not always going to be in a situation where feeding is going to be something easy for you to figure out. I'm going to try to feed in such a way so that way I get all my one-pointers out early on, and I want to get Darby to form number 3, which is the one after his little disco wolf here. Form 3 has an instant kill ability, and I want that, because instant kill is, well, as you guess, valuable. Form 4 actually loses the instant kill, but it does come packaged with a high damage potential. The high damage option is in the form of a skill that it can learn, and having that skill effectively allows you to kill the jelly. If you don't have it, then you may not actually be able to kill the jelly, because it just does hundreds and hundreds of points, and you just need that supplement somehow. If you can get your pet to a 5th form, you actually need a very specific set of enemy drops to do so. The 5th form actually has an ability called Eliminator, which has a chance to kill everything on screen that's an enemy. Unfortunately, we don't have that ability because, well, in a run like this, we haven't gotten to the point yet where that drop exists for us to take advantage of. But eventually, maybe if we're lucky, we'll find it, and if we find that, then that will give us a pretty neat little kill choice. You can't get that stage without having a certain form of your pet already met in terms of hunger here. So I'm feeding up a little extra just because I can. This will actually come into effect later, but because I'm in the menu, I may as well save time and not re-enter later.
Can I hop in with another quick donation?
Yeah, this is a great time for it while I'm paying Cafeteria Maid here.
Awesome. We have a $10 donation from Antonio S. that says, may RNG be in the runner's favor during RPGs We Love 3 and RPG Limit Break. Best of wishes. Thank you, Antonio. Just as a reminder, we are past the halfway mark for our total donation goal for this marathon, which is actually pretty awesome considering it's the first day of a week-long marathon. So keep them coming because we have lots of great incentives coming up for the remainder of the runs of this marathon. Type !incentives in chat to see a list of them.
And
you see, I
also,
have
with
my-
this little gauntlet properly beginning, I'm gonna call for more bless emojis from chat for your path to these stairs.
Yeah, we absolutely need every little bit of support that we can get at this point. Chat, I cannot pray enough for anything that you can give me, because getting through ninjas, even one single round of ninjas could be terrible if there's 3 of them. If there's 2 in the fight, then it may not be that awful. But if there's 3, then things can go very, very wrong. These red plants are scary, but I may be able to deal with them without too much effort, depending on what the game actually gives me. These guys can attack a couple of times per turn, 3 times. They like to gang up on a single person. As long as Tia doesn't die, I should be able to deal with them in a relatively timely manner. And as long as Link or Maxim is alive, I've got options with my fire weapon or my red saber to kill it pretty reliably. I also see this as my first option to sling Destroy out, so I'm doing this to try to kill it as quickly and reliably as possible. Again, those 50% is actually kicking into play because we actually managed to get through without too much heck. It looks like the ninjas here gave me a little bit of mercy. May actually take advantage of Lexus. You'll see when I was feeding Darby earlier, I did save a couple of coma hits. The coma hit has an IP ability called, I think, Sleeper Hit, which does a guaranteed put an enemy to sleep attack, and you can affect enemies like ninjas with status ailments, so we do want to take advantage of that. I just got a Misto Jewel, which is a 2% drop, and that's a decent speed boosting accessory. I don't even know where to begin with this. That's some pretty incredible luck. But again, we're not out of the water yet. We have floors 45 and 46 to get through. So we're still praying for a little bit of support here. We just found one ninja over there. Let's see if we're surrounded by them. Hopefully we won't have to fight that one, but if we do, then of course, again, we saw that we could still get lucky. Kind of depends on what the cave has in store for us. And again, even with all of our levels, which are level 26, it still is just a horrifying endeavor to have to deal with ninjas. One of the things to consider in terms of considering your scary enemies is that after ninjas, we actually do go through a lull of terrifying enemies. We have the Hydoras, which appear in the 50s, but they're not the worst to deal with. We have... I'm gonna have to fight this ninja.
I love hearing the gasp before the stream gets caught up. It's like, what? What? Oh.
Yeah, I may have just done a big boo-boo. I was one tile off with my movement. Sometimes you can outrun enemy sprites on the map, and if you do that, then it's really helpful. Unfortunately, in this case, I didn't. You'll see what I'm doing here is a little bit of an enemy manipulation. I'm trying to get the enemies to appear in the way that I want them to. If you attack an enemy on the side, then you have a 50% chance of a quote-unquote God in first. And God in first means that, well, you get in first. You get a whole free turn. If you hit them from the front, you never get that. If you hit them from the sides, then of course you want that 50. Enemies that do that to you, or that can do that to you, also have to deal with those same factors, so you kind of want to try to get those wins if you can. Oh boy. Well, let's see if this works. Darby's ability to kill has a 90% chance of instant death, so we definitely want him to cast destruction as much as possible. And he just did, so that was something we could really take advantage of.
Imp friend is best friend. Yeah,
he's a good boy. I'm not going to fight this Bryn's Lizard. Well, maybe I'll fight this Bryn's Lizard if I can help it. A little extra XP won't hurt. Bryn's Lizards drop those twist jewels that we've accumulated by the double over the course of this run so far. Typically, you don't even get one. Having 2 is just incredible. If I got a 3rd one, then combined with that Misto Jewel, I've got just about every little bit of agility boost that I could possibly hope for. I wouldn't complain if that worked out that way. It's not guaranteed I'm going to get a Twist Jewel. It's about a 15% drop, but if I got one for everyone, then it just gives my whole party a lot of extra agility. And the way that running away works in this game is that the game takes your fastest and your slowest person's agility, kind of averages them together, and then compares them against the enemy's agility. So we're kind of hoping for situations in which I can boost everyone's agility. Maxim and Salon, or Link and Salon, their agility is almost identical, and Lexus is just a tiny bit under them. So if we want to get real good runaway boosts, then we need everyone to get an agility boost. We need Tia, and then we also need all three of the other party members to get a boost in order to actually make a runaway more reliable. That is why an extra Twist Jewel would help. It's not, like I said, something required, but it sure does help if it does happen. The benefit to having Tia equipped with a Twist Jewel, of course, is the boost that she's got. We're hoping to find a Deadly Rod for her, and then a Dark Mirror to prevent instant death from working on her. There are some enemies that we're just not going to be able to outturn, and we want that bulk, but then there are some enemies that will outspeed her and cast Destroy, and we don't want her to get instant killed, because who the heck wants that in a run? Come on. We want to protect our precious Valkyries, as we'll say, our waifus need love. Ooh, Salon takes a bite there. One interesting thing in this game is that when enemies drop their loot, they don't actually always let you know that they've dropped it. If you have an item currently in your inventory that an enemy drops, and an item will show up, but if you have an accessory, like a ring or a weapon drop, then
So basically, you're wanting to double check to see if you got an extra Twist Jewel there, since you already had to.
well, because I had it equipped.
Ah, yeah.
I don't have to deal with that, which is again, it's kind of a strange quirk of this game. But let's see if I can get through this. There's a ninja in that other room, so I'm trying to be extra careful here. Yeah, so as far as drops go, if a weapon drops or an accessory drops, which there are a couple that we may end up going after, we don't actually know if we get them or not, so we need to check our inventory. If you don't have one, then you see it. If you have one and it's equipped, then you'll see it. But if you have just one extra laying there, it's an inconvenient little quirk of this way that this game works. If I whip 50% here, I'll be very sad, but I think I just did. So, chat, feel free to laugh at my misfortune.
After, well, so 450%, that is a 1 in 16 chance of them all whiffing. Maybe it's just balancing out with a little bad luck for all that good luck you got earlier. You know, with all those Dekar and Gades plates.
I don't know what you're talking about. That wasn't good luck. I mean, I did, like I said, get some decent food out of all that, so it is something that does kind of work out. This annoying little golem over here. He's a pain in the butt, but the way enemies will charge at you from either different parts of the screen or just off-screen in general is that they aren't always something you need to worry about. This guy over here, I'm walking in such a way that he actually can't get to me. It just took a little while to figure it out. I don't know if the stairs were in that room with that ninja. I'm praying they're not, but it looks like they are. So it looks like I may have one more ninja to go through. So I apologize for this part of the run actually being kind of boring. Not a whole lot's happened here. Not a whole lot's going to happen until I pass this ninja. But I do get the ability to get the one-up jump on it, and it's only one, thank goodness.
And you're also, you know, keeping chat on the edge of our seats.
Whew. Okay, we made it through that. Fortunately, again, having all that agility does help me in outturning enemies and iron golems like this, what I've been fighting here for the past couple of minutes. They can sometimes give you a little bit of your run for your money in terms of agility, but with all the levels that we got from killing those cores earlier, it actually worked out in our favor to not have to stress too much over it. We're past ninjas now, and now we're to the point now where we actually do have a lot of freedom. I could fight fringe lizards a little bit longer to try my hand at getting one more twist jewel, but in all honesty, most of the enemies that we could fight and would try to run away from aren't something that we would run away from, or by that I mean need to. I'm also going to get to the point where I'm going to slow down a little bit on chest grabs. By this point, many of the things I wish I had a deadly rod for, I've passed. Coming up, I'm going to have some more, but I'll be able to deal with them in a variety of other ways. So I'm not going to stress too much about not having the instant death on them. The Hydras are going to be extremely helpful to kill, but their agility hovers around the 70s, which I can kind of get my party to, even without a twist jewel, by use of that spell Fake that I found earlier. That will allow me to run away with a bit more reliability through a combination of other equipment. And Ice Valk. The Hydras that I'm going to actually be trying to kill, they appear starting floor 53. They are weak to ice, and I just found the best ice spell that the game has to offer. So,
when does the Mythblade start spawning again? Did you say 60 earlier, I believe?
Yeah, that appears starting at 60. You can like dance in the doorway with a couple of ghouls. Certain enemies only teleport when you're near them. Certain enemies teleport when you're far away from them. They're just jerks, so we laugh at their faces. They appear in these low 50s, and eventually it's going to be a point where we have a variety of teleporters on screen. So it's just going to be a mishmash of things that are zipping around from off screen that will try to kill us all the time. If you remember earlier, I mentioned something about walking in the stairs from the bottom up. I did go into great detail on that, and this might actually be a good time to talk about that. Something you may have not quite noticed, or you may have noticed a little bit, but you didn't pay too much attention to, is that enemies, whenever they're loaded in a room, they load face downward. If you walk in the stairs, whatever direction you enter the stairs from is the direction that you're facing. So for instance, if you walk from the bottom, you're facing upwards. What that means is that an enemy that loads down facing, or a general enemy, cannot spawn in such a way where it can get a back attack on you. If you do stairs from the side, then it's like a 50-50. So we're going to try to minimize the amount of options that enemies have by giving them fewer and fewer chances to actually hit us in situations where they get a back attack against us. Once we hit the 50s, the chest value in this game really ramps up. You'll see we found a really good armor. Unfortunately, we can't use it, but it is a pretty good armor. It's called Old Armor. That's reserved for our big boys that we didn't bring. We can also find an old sword, which, while helpful, won't actually be of any significant value in this run due to only Link being able to equip it, and we want Link to use a Mythblade since we didn't find a Cancer Rock to pair with it. Let's see. So entering the areas where these Hydras are, we can almost always ensure a back attack on them. They come in two flavors. The map sprite is the same between them. Right now, though, we're only going to see one, and that's just a Sea Hydra. The Sea Hydra sometimes comes with a couple of mookie enemies. They're called Moray Vines. They're just annoying. There's nothing to be too scared about. The enemies themselves walk around in increments of 3. And by that, I mean they take steps in thirds. So you'll see that I'm actually going to be trying to plan my actions in which I attack them by trying to be 2 tiles away from them at every point so I can get the back attack on them right when they're ready to go. There's one. So you'll notice I'm targeting the Hydora here first. And yes, I do say Hydora just because it's how it's spelled. Don't judge me for it. The way enemy drops work is that if an enemy drops something, then if it drops, then additional enemies that drop things don't actually drop them. We want to try to maximize the drop of a Hydora Rock by killing it first, so that way the other enemies, they don't drop anything. I don't think the Moray Vines drop anything, but due to complications in the mechanics of how this game's drop thing works. I think if a drop trigger is met, even if nothing is dropped, then you don't get it. The rocket itself has about a 20% chance to drop, and it gives a speed boost as well as an attack boost, and again, it lets you do some pretty cool multi-hit stuff. You could find a weapon that has a 3x attack damaging factor, or it multiplies your attack power by 3, or you could just find a Hydora Rock and have a better weapon, and with that, get your 3x attack done by having a better weapon equipped and targeting just a single enemy. Technically the weapons, or I'm sorry, the accessories themselves, they target randomly among the pool of all enemies that are currently on the map, but, I'm sorry, on the screen. But if there's only one enemy on the screen, then you hit that same enemy 3 times, so in that case it's pretty much inconsequential. So we're looking out here, we're getting a couple more kills. If we get a Hydra Rock, we technically only need 1, although I wouldn't mind getting 2. If we don't, then there's a very specific weapon that we need to find called a Lizard Blow for Alexis, which does start appearing as of now. It is unfortunate I don't have a Deadly Rod to try to show you guys ways to kill things quickly. Having to fight them conventionally is a time suck, but it, on the same time, does give us what we need in terms of, 1, an entertaining show, and 2, just a demonstration of factors that we can use to kill things in ways that we wouldn't always be able to. Oof.
I love it when you say that and then the stream catches up. It's like you're waiting for Christmas morning for your presents. Like, you know it's coming. You know it's coming, chat. And then you see the party room.
Yeah, we just set ourselves a nasty little room right here. Let's see what I can do. So we're going to try to kill these Hydras first again. Party rooms in this game become progressively worse as you go through. Some of the enemies that you'll start finding in the cave have the ability to either one-shot you or one-shot your party, or both, and they come in varieties of partnerships. They're bigger enemies, and some of them will just kind of meander about, making them extremely difficult to place where you want them to. It's a challenge that you have to kind of work on overcoming, so dancing with dragons, or dancing with hydras, or dancing with serpents becomes an endeavor that you just kind of learn to find a little bit of joy in, because there's very little else to be positive in. If you look in that room, you actually may have seen a couple of birds, for lack of a better term, buzzing around. Those are called Serphacos. Serphacos are very scary because they're one of the first enemies that we have that have all of their battle options include a variety of ways that just hurt you enormously. They can either go 3 times and hurt your party bar a lot, or they can go 1 time and cast a big, powerful spell called Twister. Looks like I may actually have avoided them by sheer luck, thanks to gods. That means I can't hunt that room for Hydras anymore, but we still got a couple more floors to find them. I'm also going to take a little bit of an advantage here and go back to lunchtime. There's not a whole lot else I'm going to worry about doing, but there are a few other things I can work on feeding here. Some other foods that I have allow me to do things like just fill up my pet very quickly. I don't want to feed those gauge blades because I just want to carry them for kicks, but certain things I'm finding now, like the Great Axe, the Heavy Lance, the Zerko weaponry, they just do a lot in terms of giving a food bonus, so I'm trying to feed those strategically here so I can get my pet up to the 5th form. If you remember I was talking, 4th form. If you remember I was talking about the forms being different, the best ability that Darby can learn for damage actually comes from being able to cast something that he learns by winning combat, or being in a battle when the combat is considered won. If we don't have what we really crave, for him as a spell. Then we want to try to get him. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words here while I dance here. We want him to learn his spell, so we want him to get to his 4th form as early as possible, so that way we can have him have as much time as he needs to learn his spell. There's no guarantee that he'll learn it after 1 combat, or 10 combats, or 50 combats. And I've had it happen where sometimes he will learn his spell after enemies run away, rather than just having a general victory. So unfortunately, with no actual reliance there, I don't know how to make things work any better, so I just need to feed him up as quickly as I can in order to bump the chances of getting his hunger meter full as quickly as possible. I don't want to fight too many fights at this point of the cave either, because things just become very difficult to kill, especially with my lack of a deadly weapon. So I'm going to try my best to just get him to be full when he can, so that way I can like I said, just get him full and filled. Let's see. I may actually... Oh, that was garbage.
Trying to hit those last 4 little pips, huh?
Yeah, I don't think I can. I could feed the Gades blades, but I don't want to, just because I'm me right now.
Are you keeping them as lucky charms on principle, just to show off?
Yes. Yes,
Gotcha.
I am.
Wells did his best to summon down all this delicious food for Darby.
Yeah, it's
Just holding it back.
Well, he could give me a magic fruit. Magic fruits are an item that feeds your capsule monster by 8 pips, and each feedometer for whatever form it's in has 32 pips. As they evolve, their hunger becomes more and more difficult to satisfy, and things that would give 4 in a previous form only give 2 in the next one. Magic fruit always gives 8, so when possible, you want to take advantage of that by, saving those for your final form of feeding, and you only have to feed up through the 3rd form, like I'm doing right now. After that, there's no more feeding other than the special secret fruits. I may end up just going for the next group of Hydras. That one's going to be a little difficult to get. I have a bit of lull in Hydras I have to fight here. 56 and 57 don't really have anything remarkable to talk about. There's some scary enemies that appear called Sly Boxes and Crows, both of which are on the screen here for you to view, chat. They're things I don't want to fight because they're fast. They're very fast and they just hurt a lot.
They're RPG jerkbirds.
They're RPG jerkbirds. Sounds like a good way to describe them. The only thing is their color palette is not quite as entertaining, or something I would praise. So, in terms of style and swag, they just lack that finesse. Once we pass the floors 56 and 57, though, 58 is where things get really interesting. 58 is where no cores and the final batch of Hydras appear. The final batch of Hydras don't come with those little moray vines that you saw me duking it out with a moment ago, so they're not the most scary thing to deal with. There can only be 2 per fight versus the 3 enemies that we saw in the Hydra fight. Oof. But the inconvenience of that is that they're more difficult to kill, so you need a bit more preparation. With Ice Falcon, my pile of mages, I don't have too much to worry about, but it's still just something that I kind of need to be careful about and make sure that I carefully manage my MP so that after I'm done dealing with them, I can still heal up if I need to.
We had lost stream for just a moment. Are we to those no core floors, or is that next one?
No cores are the next floor that we'll be at. Actually, we're about to walk into the stairs here to go to those no core / high Dora floors. So get ready for those in just a second, chat.
Let's see. What color heart have I not used yet? We'll go with that one.
Is there a silver or a white one? Game audio missing after refresh.
Neither. You get an orange heart. It's all I got left.
All right. No cores at this point. They're not as necessary. They're helpful. They're desired, but they're not as necessary. We're gonna of course, get experience from killing those high doors if we find them. Notice I'm calling them high doras. Their names are high Dora, so just as a quirk, it's something to just be aware of. The chest contents also, once we hit floor 60, which is the final floor that both of those enemies appear on, is also the last floor that the first floor that we can find the elusive Myth Blade in. Looks like our first floor doesn't have anything in it, which is, I don't know, maybe, well, there's still a door I may have missed. Speaking of things I may have missed, there isn't a whole lot that I have missed. There are a couple of accessories that spawn very early in the cave that are of no major consequence. Some of them you can't actually get through enemy drops, though, so it's neat to find them. But you never really have to worry about dealing with them. Oh boy. Alright, looks like we may be killing our first batch of high Doras here. The thing about the high Doras in this case, number one, they fly. That gives them an additional weakness to flying type weapons. We don't actually have any of those, but there is a weapon called a launcher, which you can get, which has the ability to just deal effective damage against flying enemies. Also a flying blow, which has an IP ability that just downright shreds them, and a couple of other bows that our party members can't use, which are extremely good at dealing with flying enemies. Because we don't have that flying blow, I pretty much have to kill these hydras using exclusively ice magic.
Which in turn eats through those MP and MP restoring items. Do you think you've accumulated enough now to where you don't have to worry about it, or is that still something you're considering going forward here?
Well, there's an enemy later on that's going to appear in the next set of floors coming up that can steal MP. So I need to be very careful when I find them, because if I use too many of my MP restorative items, then I'm going to be at a stage where I lack the ability to heal my MP reliably after dealing with them. Even with my high magic resistance and my decent party that's all mages, these enemies that can steal MP, they're called genies, and they come in 4 different elemental flavors. They can still take upwards of half, if not more, MP per attempt of them casting an absorb spell, which I actually do happen to have. What that means is I'm going to try to keep my MP below half whenever possible, just because since they can steal so much of it, I don't want to be stuck in a situation where they steal a lot of it and then I'm stuck stranded. Miracles heal you for full MP, and therefore, if I have to use them, I will. But I'm not going to rely on them whenever I can until I need them. 1, for revival, and 2, for magic restoration. Looks like we're not finding any no cores, because I'm on floor 60 and there's not a single no core in sight. But I do have one last shot at high Doras here, so let's see what we can get our hands on.
Yeah, and we talked a bit about how you'll see Ellie here doing a lot of manipulation, and a lot of these big monsters that we're running into on these final floors, they just move a step in a random direction every 3 actions you take. So it's a lot of dancing back and forth for Ellie to make sure he gets in that back attack and gets the free round.
And I do outspeed them. I think everybody in my party except Lexus currently outspeeds them, because they have 90 agility. I think with all of my twist jewels, I've just increased the amount of my party's agility by just such a hilarious amount that I don't need to worry too much about it. But it also means that I don't get a guaranteed runaway, even at this point. No high door rocks, man. Excuse me. So what that means is I would have still just wanted to make sure I get the kill on them, just in case I do something like a misinput, which could absolutely happen and therefore cost my run by just either shredding my health or just being in that scenario. So I'm on 61 now, and this is where things in the cave start to get really interesting. Certain enemies at this point now become absolute either run enders or just deal so much damage that they set your party up for a situation where it's really difficult to recover from. Some of them will charge at you from off screen, some of them are just so difficult to kill because their HP enters the thousands, which is just a lot to really have to deal with. And without a deadly weapon, you just don't have reliable means to kill them. What that means is that if you can't kill the enemies, you're more stuck having to battle them in other ways, and without those other ways available, I'm going to be relying on Destroy a lot, and that's about it. Also, pretty soon the enemies coming up are either going to be dragons, which are these 2x2 just big boys just wandering around the place like they own it, strutting their stuff and shaking what their mama gave them. Shakira, their hips don't lie. But we also need to look out for enemies pretty soon that are called summoners, which are tiny little dudes. They're teleporters, but they absolutely will outspeed you under every circumstance. And we have to be super careful not to deal with them, because if we end up fighting summoners, then it's entirely likely that we'll be just going to run in no matter what. These salamanders are some of the scary enemies that you fight, because you just pretty much are not outspeeding them, and they hurt for a ton. Because you've got a bunch of levels, you don't have to worry too much about them, but a room full of them does mean they're just very awkward to have to deal with killing. We'll burn one miracle here on Tia. Salamanders are dragons, and eventually there are a couple of dragons that I may actually consider killing. Without a deadly rod, though, it's pretty difficult to kill them. They're weak to holy elemental magic, which I don't have. They're weak to holy elemental weapons, which I only have one of, and it's not that great. And they're weak to flying elemental stuff, which, again, I don't really have. So I can't really rely on it too much. What that would effectively mean is that I'd be grinding out for the fruits that allow Darby to evolve to a form that lets him target multiple dudes at once and kill them in a single hit, which I've never actually done in a marathon setting before.
First time for everything.
Yeah, well, there's a first time for getting 2 Gauge Blades in a run, and today is actually the first time it's ever happened to me. So I'd like to thank chat for being part of this exciting experience. I don't think I'll ever have this happen to me again. I have to run into these Warm Eyes, those things I was talking about earlier, that are just pretty scary. There could be 4 of them. They go twice per turn. They can paralyze you. And without too much of a reliable means to deal with them, they're not fun, you know? I'm going to try to take this minute to get a little bit of free MP back. Stealing some MP can help, because it just means I don't have to burn through my miracles. I don't have any of those other MP restorative items like High Magic or X Magic, so I can't just go flaunting out miracles and calling it a day. So I do need to be careful how I deal with enemies. These guys can confuse me, but I should be able to run away in most circumstances. And you saw they hurt Tia even with her big bulky armor from that Water Gauntlet boost, which you haven't actually seen very much of yet. So, like I said, just showing how much you have to deal with in order to just get a kill means that you just need to kind of be careful and a bit stingy with what you have. So I'm trying to get some MP here because, one, I want to have a couple more destroys on hand. And 2, by saving those miracles, I get more preparation for later on. I have to excuse me, I just had a cat jump up on my lap.
The advantages of streaming your run from home instead of from the office?
Absolutely, and I've streamed from my office many a time, so I'm happy to be doing it from my house tonight. The Warm Eyes themselves, they, if you saw that eyeball in the screen that we were just at a minute ago. The Warm Eyes themselves, they're scary because they come in batches of 4. They don't have a weakness, and they've got about 500 HP. I think I outspeed them pretty reliably with at least 2 of my people, but I don't want to be stuck in a situation where they're hitting me 2 times per, and if I have to deal with 4 of them, I can't kill more than 2 that quickly just because I lack the ability to do so. Let me see what I can do for speed here. 15, 16, 17, 9.
Okay, I can't resist. When a vine makes you weak and then puts you to sleep, that's amore. Okay, that's all I got.
What on earth?
They're moray vines. That's a
Oh,
okay. That's amore.
that's amore. Thank you. Okay. Well, you sung the song just in time to sing about the love that is coming from Darby Form 4. Darby here is happy. He's a big boy. Darby himself means he wants to beat up the bad guys who I only have to fight one. If he gets a kill, you'll notice that in my experience games at the end of a battle, I'll randomly have some just really long text bit. It'll have a couple of weird icons next to it. That's going to say that Darby learned Evil Aura. We're hoping for that. And once I learn Evil Aura, I can go back to putting him into Form 3. Because of course, when he's in Form 3, he deals all that instant kill magic. Yeah. Form 4 doesn't have instant kill, but he's just an incredible damage dealer. So we're, in a way, we do have something that we do really kind of need for the kill to happen on the jelly. See what I got up here. An interesting enemy that you'll see on my screen in just a moment is a gold Gorem. You notice I say Gorem and not Golem. That's another one of the wonderful, wonderful translations that this game has. Golems are horrifying. Gold Gorems in this game, they can go multiple times. They have an attack called Golden Mist, which just outright shreds you. I don't think that my team can survive 2 Golden Mists, even with everything I've got at this point. They are very difficult to kill without instant death means. Very, very difficult. I just found Fry, which is another holy element spell that I just can't use. And you'll see an interesting treasure in just a minute.
Yeah, I mean, most of my time spent in the Ancient Cave has been part of my first and my second mode playthroughs of the DLC, as you've been calling it. So I'm very acclimated to finding both Fry and Zap in there, and just no, not available. Because I don't know why, but I get there that first time through, and I'm like, I want to kill the jelly while I still have Decker, and
I may be partially responsible for this.
Also, yes.
What's a good emote that represents excitement? Because chat, I think you want to throw out some of those excitement emotes now. We just found a Deadly Rod, which is something very coveted in the course of this game.
Deadly Rod and a Fatal Pick, pretty much back to back, although the Rod's the real exciting one there. But not seen a Curse Lifter yet, have you?
Yeah, unfortunately, we have not yet seen a Curse Lifter, and a Curse Lifter is all but mandatory in this run. Don't talk about what I just found next, though. But a Curse Lifter, yeah, will uncurse my weapon and let me take advantage of its IP abilities against the jelly. Chat, do not say anything. Chat,
I'm biting my tongue so hard! Clear out all the upcoming runs. You're sitting right there for the next 16 hours, Ellie.
I'll tell you what, chat, if I find another 3 items before the run, you get 1 for beating jelly at the very end, and then you can find up to 9. If I do get another 3, then I will continue this run offline. You have my word. Curse Lifters are red chest only items. They appear just very rarely, and they're required to uncurse cursed weapons. The Fatal Pick is effectively a Deadly Rod without the IP ability, and we really want the IP ability for the jelly. So I'm going to try to resist the urge to equip that Fatal Pick ever. Having a Twist Jewel for Tia, again, means that she can outspeed a lot of the enemies, and her agility is just so high that she can really capitalize on outspeeding many of them. But we want to outspeed more than one enemy type. And oh boy. Here's one of the scary guys I was talking about earlier.
It's interesting that it let you finish looting the chest before the fight started.
Yeah, it took a minute for him to actually appear in the. So think about this. I buffered my A button input to open the chest before his teleportation back in finished. And because of that, my buffer to open the chest actually triggered first.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Good to know.
Technically, too, when you first enter a room, you do get, I think, 1 or 2 frames of input where your actions just work before enemies do. What that means is that in times where there's ninjas, you can run onto stairs if they're close enough, and if a ninja were to be in contact with you, you technically wouldn't actually be in a scary situation. Oh boy. Because you're outspeeding the ninjas in that case. I didn't think about this ghost shift being a problem, but I may end up just slapping the Deadly Rod on Tia right now, just to save myself some time. She's not going to have any physical options to deal with enemies later on, so having this Deadly Rod for me to fail with, of course, is a wonderful thing for me to go forward with. Let's see what happens. Yeah, and there's a miss. Alright, 80% chance to successfully hit, and of course we miss our first chance, so what kind of game would this be? If not an accurate one.
Reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics accuracy numbers.
What accuracy numbers?
Hey, got it on the rebound though.
You're right. So if we had found that Deadly Rod earlier, I would have tried to kill some of those white dragons that we saw earlier. White dragons have a chance to drop a holy fruit, which makes it so Darby can evolve. And if Darby evolves, then, well, hey, like I said, you get that mass group elimination. You have to evolve him backwards or devolve him by using one of those special fruits I was talking about. And you need to get that from a dark dragon. I have since passed the white dragons now, so there's no real point in hunting for the fruit. I got a Gorgon Rock there. You're familiar with the whole we're dealing fractional based damage to the jelly when we go for the combat. The Gorgon Rock deals 1/8 of an enemy's current HP in damage, and we like that because this is of course a big number. There's 1/8 options, 1/6 options, 1/4 options, and 1/2 options. I have a Decker Blade for the 1/2 option, but I can't use it. So my next hope is for the Myth Blade, which is the 1/4 option. The 1/6 option comes in 2 different forms, both of which only Maxim can use, and he can also only use the 1/4 option, so we want that 1/4, courtesy of the Myth Blade. Now the 1/8 option also comes in 2 forms. It comes by the Devastation ability from the Deadly Rod's Uncursing, and it also comes from the Gorgon Rock that I just found. The Gorgon Rock can only be used 1 time per combat though, whereas the Devastation from Deadly Rods can be used up to 3 times per person per combat, based on having a full IP meter. We want to be able to use it at least 2 times. That's why I'm really hoping for a Curse Lifter, so I can uncurse Tia's Deadly Rod and have either her or Salon use it. The Gorgon Rock is still an option for Alexis, because he just doesn't have a lot to bring to the table otherwise, outside of his extreme intelligence. If I don't find Thunder, then I'm stuck with him using a kind of mediocre spell kit. So I want to try to give him things that he can use. He has the Lizard Blow, which is a weapon that he can use that deals pretty good damage, all things considered, but I would like Salon to use that as well. Oh boy. Oops, I just did the wrong input here. Fix this. So, yeah, so having a Gorgon Rock means, like, again, Lexus can do something. His only options for damage without a Hydroid Rock are good. They come from the Lizard Blow, a Cancer Rock, which isn't that good, Elemental Spells, or the Gorgon Rock. So it is, again, something he can do. Having a second Gorgon Rock is kind of okay. Again, it's not going to be a real big deal, but it does kind of just offer something. It gives defensive parameters, which people like Lexus enjoy having. That's why I just slapped it on. but it's far from the Dream Rock.
Looks like we may be having another little pocket here of freezing. So if you get another Gorgon Rock, go ahead and spoiler us so that we know while our restreamer gets everything back up.
For what it's worth, I haven't yet. I'll continue to entertain chat with letting everyone know what comes up. There's a floor with pretty scary.
Oh, are you still there with us, Ellie?
I was wondering if that was on my end or everyone else's.
I think Ellie might have accidentally unplugged his microphone.
Oh dear.
That's a little bit of what that sounded like.
Ping him. I'm going to do that.
There was definitely a sound during that.
In the meantime, we have a $10 donation from Caladorn that says, much love towards Nami and the gaming community support for it. And, of course, dropping the Invent a Love emote in the message.
You know, who made that emote? Okay, would you like to tell us about that special incentive that's ongoing for the entirety of the marathon, by the way, Pitch?
I would love to. So, if you type !prizes into the chat, you will see a wonderful list of all the prizes that you can win during RPGs We Love 3. Not only is the money going towards helping the Valkyries get to RPG Limit Break, as well as having any additional funds going towards Nami, the donations that you make can go to a different set of prizes per day. And one of those prizes actually is a custom emote or avatar commission by our very own Skull Kitty, which is going to be a Saturday prize. That we have a lot of really awesome prizes in this marathon, and that is one that we are super excited about. So get those donations in. In fact, today we have a couple of Monday-only prizes since it is past midnight in Eastern Time. We have a couple of lovely artistic prizes coming out today. We have a Dragon Ball Z fusion painting made by Puzzle P. That looks pretty amazing. And we also have a Child of Light print made by Keishara. He made this gorgeous-looking print, and oh, I really like that. I'm looking at the pictures, and it's just wonderful. And don't forget, every day of the marathon, we have a daily Perler Surprise Prize made by either Sparkover or Kinda Nerdy Housewife. So enjoy your surprise Perlers. Get those donations in.
And it does look like our restreamer, well, either moved Ellie on out of the room, hopefully as a means of helping him realize that he disconnected. Hopefully we'll get him back here in a minute. And yeah, Ellie definitely knows Ancient Cave better than either of us here, but I think Pitch and I can both speak to just how much we love Lufia 2 and how it's great Ancient Cave is. If y'all have not had a chance to play this game, chat, like, this is definitely an RPG I love. Pitch, how about you? When did you first play this game? Who actually, because I didn't play this when I was youthful with my SNES in my teenage years. When did you first get into it?
I first played it like immediately before you did because my best friend really liked it, and I started playing it on my commute to and from work, like on my modded PSP with an emulator on it, because like my commute to work used to be an hour long. And I knew that my best friend, well, Sean, he's been hanging out in chat tonight, he loved that game, and I wanted something to play on my commute, so I played Lufia 2, and I loved it. And then you said you were thinking about playing it, so me and him were like, oh my god, and then you gotta play it!
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things I really started playing was a whole lot of Final Fantasy IV for Enterprise, and the fact that Ancient Cave is kind of what a lot of people jokingly refer to as the first randomizer definitely tickles that bug of having this base of knowledge you can take advantage of and have a different play experience every time. but the vanilla game also
Yeah.
is
Did
just...
you lose me? I'm sorry about that.
We got Ellie back! We were just talking about how great the game was.
Okay.
Cave and the vanilla playthrough, for anyone who doesn't know just how loved this particular RPG we love is.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good topic of conversation and not hopefully about the misery of me trying to avoid getting slaughtered by a Archfiend.
Yeah, we had a good like 45 seconds of wait, where did Ellie go? And did our best to cover for you. But welcome back. Still rolling.
Oh, as a side note, I misspoke earlier. Scala's emote and or avatar commission prize is actually open to anybody who donates, watches, or chats during the marathon. That is not a donation-only prize. If you type !prizes into the chat, there is actually a link that you can use to enter, and that will be done live on stream on Saturday.
So Ellie, as far as this game goes, when did you first play it? The entire marathon is called RPGs We Love. When did you fall in love with this game? Did you play it back in your youth, or did you just get into it as an adult like Bitch and I did?
I started playing this as a wee little Ellie. Back in my youth days, I played this when I was I just had a boober there. I played this when I was young. I remember playing it with my father back when I was still kind of learning how to read and just, grade school and everything. And after I moved to Texas, I lost my Super Nintendo and everything with it, but I managed to come back in touch with everything else eventually. And I've since acquired a new copy of this, and I do play it locally here and there. It's a fun game to play, even though it's stressful as all heck. The Ancient Cave is the best part because while the JRPG aspect of the DLC is fun, the Ancient Cave is just something that's different every time, so it makes it so much more fun than you could possibly ever think it would be. So what I'm doing here is I'm fighting well genies. These are the guys that I was telling about that come in 4 flavors of Steel or MP. They're pretty threatening, especially since they usually come in 3s. They defend about 70% of the time, but when they attack hard. Fortunately, we can manipulate them in certain ways so that we don't have to get into combat with them, or we're stuck having to fight them facing facing a stock battle. Now, the elements that you see them as are not what you'd expect them to be. For instance, I'm fighting the red guys here. They're not actually weak to water. But other than that, everything's going to pretty much make sense with what you'd expect to see. Just out of curiosity, because this is just a pretty boring fight area, do you have any donations you'd like to?
I actually was reading donations while we were having technical issues. There have not been any that came in since then. However, chat, y'all have the power to change that. As a reminder of what our funds are going towards, you're currently watching RPGs We Love 3, which is the annual RPG Valkyries fundraising marathon, and all donations accepted during the marathon will go directly to the RPG Valkyries to pay for accommodations, airfare, and necessary additional expenses, such as food at the event, taxes, and etc. As we do have 3 members of the Valkyries who have gotten runs accepted into RPG Limit Break, as we found out today, so any leftover funds will be donated directly to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is a selected charity for RPG Limit Break. And not only will your funds go towards that, you can also win some fantastic prizes with them, which we have been discussing earlier on today. And if you want to see those prizes, you can type !prizes into the chat, because we have some really amazing stuff. There's different prizes every day, so be sure to check it out. We have, we still do have some open incentives and bid wars for games that are going to be closing in the next couple of hours. Particularly, we have Dragon Ball Z Super Saiya Densetsu Fight the Secret Boss incentive, which is about $77 away from being met. So if you want to see that happen, let's get it in.
So we're killing genies. Genies are going to be around for about 15 floors. They come in 4 flavors, and they're really, really frightening just because of how quick they are. But they can be dealt with in a variety of ways, so we don't have to worry too much about being stuck in clearance where we can't just deal with them in general. Unfortunately, we're in a sticky situation here now where I've got a Archfiend on screen, and I don't have the means to boost Tia's speed by enough to help her outspeed them. They have 166 agility, and I've only got 154, so I am going to have to go through a little bit of a prayer. Either only fighting one, or whatever it is I'm dealing with just isn't a scary, scary combination. I'm actually going to try to farm these guys a little bit more for just a touch more XP. Never mind. Wind Genies, they are just too fast. They outspeed you pretty much no matter what, even Tia, even at her best. I don't want to deal with that, so we're praying. Right now at this point, we are technically at a point where we could be facing a run end, so we're really hoping for everything that we can get in terms of just being able to survive this. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So these guys go up to 4 times. You can't do much about them. And because I don't outspeed them, again, this is the part of the game where I just lack the sheer bulk to deal with what they have to offer. They could do things that don't involve killing me. If I can kill one, I might be able to get through. But I just don't know what I'm going to be dealt with. Okay. So I did a setup here that made things a little bit safer. I had Tia attack, I had Selen cast Destroy, and then I had Link use a Smoke Ball. A Smoke Ball is a guaranteed runaway. Holy. Yeah, Cat, I hope you're,
Oh my god.
Everything worked out. And not only did everything work out, but we received a Mistblade for our effort. Holy moly.
Only in marathons. Only in marathons, y'all.
Only in a marathon. Well, we're not out of the woods yet. We've still got quite a few floors of Archfiends and other scary, frightening things to go through before we can call this a wrap. So we do have to be careful. We also have to try to get Darby to learn Evil Aura, which means that we do want to win a few more fights with Darby out like this, and hopefully he'll learn it. I'm to the point now where there aren't too many things left that I can kill, so I need to really just try to kill whatever I can. Confirm. Nope, didn't learn it. His abilities that he has right now are more or less good ones, but they're just not what I need. Oh boy. I may have just made a critical error here. Okay, I'm alright, I think.
Every time I hear the phrase critical error, I still think of the sentry turrets from Portal. I don't know why, but that's just that 2-word phrase is always spoken in that exact critical error voice.
Well, fortunately, I don't think we're going to have that much more in the way of critical errors. We're on floor 82. Gorgons, I'm killing them not because I want the Gorgon Rock, but I, again, want to try to get the big, wonderful Curse Lifter. No, sorry, the Curse Lifter, the Evil Aura for Darby. The Gorgons themselves aren't too threatening. They only have about 800 hit points. They can only ever hit one person at a time. Even if they wallop you, they still may not kill you. They're manageable, which is nice. They give a little bit of experience at this point, which is still worth it, because an extra level or 2 can always help. I'd like to have my party ideally at maybe level 68, which I just don't know if I'm going to be able to or not, but I'll take it if I can get it. I don't need to burn through crazy abilities to try to kill them, which means not huge time sinks. And they only appear until floor 84, which means I've only got them for a couple more floors at all. After 84, I've got a few more floors of Genies and Archfiends, and then we're considered done. I'm still looking for a Curse Lifter, which is the main reason why I'm still opening chests I wouldn't mind a second Deadly Rod as well, although that means I'll want 2 Curse Lifters instead of just 1. And this game doesn't seem to want to hand me any.
I mean, just as soon as you give up all hope, just fight another couple of Archfiends, and then the next chest will somehow have 2 of them in it.
Yeah, everything will work out. One other neat thing about learning Evil Aura means that if we do get Evil Aura, then we can swap back Darby to 3rd form. Killing things at this point will be good because there's only, after genies, 1 enemy type that comes in a set of more than 2. And being able to instant kill 1 of them through a back attack, either with Deadly Rod Tia or with just any form of instant kill through Darby or whatever. It's just a little extra insurance. So in reality, there are only maybe 7 or 8 different enemies that we're even going to see at this point in the cave now. Again, one is the 3 different combinations of genies that we ran into. The others, the Gorgons, which are here for a little bit longer. After a little bit, we're pretty much exclusively going to see dragons.
Oh, hi!
A Water Spear. Water Spear is great. For Lexus, it is the best weapon he could possibly have. If I had a Hydora Rock for him, like I was trying to get before, then that would literally be a dream, because it gives him the highest damage output that he's possibly capable of, outside of Thunder Ring Thunder. And... It just means that we're in a situation where we have a really good tool and we don't have the ability to use it. It's still a good weapon, so if I want him to poke stuff, it does help. And there are still a couple of situations that involve wanting to poke stuff. Mostly about fighting Dark Summoners. Dark Summoners, they're, in context, they're not too strong compared to the other big scary things, but they're very fast. They come in 4s and they teleport, so they're just difficult to pin down. Their attacks via spells are just intense because they just have so much that they can do. So we do have to look out for them big time, otherwise we're going to be stuck fighting something that we will just die to. They're effectively just very powerful mages, and if they come in a set of 4, then we're stuck having to deal with a set of mages. And because, again, of how magic damage works in this game, you're always going to take a lot of magic damage from anything that tries to attack you. Boy. So we're really entering the final chunk of the cave here, and once I pass floor 87, we're at the point where we don't even see Archfiends anymore. Just for kicks, it looks like we got ourselves a second... Wait for it, chat. There it is, Mythblade.
Oh, Alright, so floor, like, 95, 96 will be your Curse Lifter, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I've had many situations where 98, 99 has been the opportunity in which I find the one thing I need, which is a Curse Lifter or something else silly. A Decker Blade. I've had 98 Decker Blades with a chest in sight of the stairs going to the final portion of what there is to deal with. So you never really do know what this cave's going to hand you. One thing that I do know this cave's going to hand me, though, is a series of scary dragons to have to deal with. So I'm still playing it a little bit safe, because I do want EXP, but I also want to survive getting there. And dragons, because of how scary they are, I just may not have the ability to actually kill them. So, again, I am playing this very safely. Do be aware people like Elmegas have been able to complete these runs in a much shorter amount of time. I myself have been able to get to the jelly in shorter amounts of time in reject runs. I just didn't have the stuff to do it. This run may, again, end up being one of those runs where I just don't have the means to do what it is that I want to do. But on the plus side, I'm hopefully giving everybody an entertaining run. So I'm going to pretty much stop killing genies at this point, even though they appear for a few more floors if I can help it. One, they're just a time sink. But two, dragons for a little while are actually going to be relatively easy to kill. Archfiends only appear for a couple more floors, along with the genies, and I can handle the genies. But Archfiends I don't want to have to deal with, and one more level isn't going to make that much of a difference. So if I can get into a fight where I've only got to kill one or maybe two of these guys, I'll do so. But if I got to kill three, I'm not going to worry about it. If things go wrong, which they absolutely can, I can miss all of my deadlies, I can miss all of my destroys. 2 hits from those genies will end my run. And I'm not prepared to deal with the ramifications of having a run ended at this point, given everything that's already happened.
And I am still with you. Maybe a bit low energy at this point, but I am hanging with you till the finish of this, Ellie. I want to see a big old jelly quavering in fear. That's what jellies do, right?
Well, he is a juggernaut, but he is one that we will hopefully be able to get to jiggle a little bit out of his comfort zone. Oh my god.
Okay. Wait for it. At minimum, you have to take a screenshot of your impressive arsenal collection at the end of this.
Yeah, just to show this off, I have an Irish Shield, I have a Decker Blade, and a Gades Blade all in one screen. But I have 3 Gades Blades on this reject percent run. I just want to make it clear how hilariously unfortunate this is.
It has been properly blessed by Wells, entirely attributing this to his magical touch in chat.
Do we have a time for a quick donation?
Absolutely.
So Vanicus donates $50 and says, Ellie is doing great on reject percent. Gotta show my support and help out. You all get to RPG Limit Break at the same time. Instead of goes towards Ellison's choice, which I did put it towards your choice, which was Dimitri's servant attire in Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Yes, chat for what it's worth, I do work for a website called Durin's Forest, which basically supports all things Fire Emblem. I absolutely support anything related to that game, so my runner's choice is to Dimitri, being one handsome boy. And hopefully you will be okay having Dimitri wear a butler suit too, because he is just one dashing fellow. Oh my god. Oh, okay.
I was really hoping that Wells calling for the 4th Gades Blade was landing right there.
I'll take it. A Christ Shield, it's a ladies only shield. It's good. It just normally isn't used because in a run like this, you don't have either of the ladies. And yes, Shala, I would recommend the 3 Houses as a good starting game because there's a lot of ways to play it that are not hostile to the player. Additionally, Fire Emblem itself, 3 Houses gives you a lot too that's not just straight up struggling to play the game. So if you're having a hard time trying to make it through, or you're bored by just doing battles of chess, you have a lot of interaction with the story. You have a lot of interaction with characters, a lot of different things to do to divide your time. The thing, I'm great friends with a lot of the voice actors that run the 3 Houses game. So if you are looking for a game with high quality voice acting, 3 Houses is definitely the place to go. Oof. All right, well now we're at the point where we're experiencing a variety of colors in our dragon. You're about to see golds for the first time this run. You may have remembered seeing a couple silvers, but golds are a whole different level of scary. The 3 forms of dragons are copper, silver, gold. Coppers only go 1 time per turn, and their attacks are not always that scary. They sometimes just cast mirror on themselves, which means you can't hit them with magic spells, which why would you anyway? Silvers go twice per turn. They can debuff your defense, but it doesn't usually matter because with as strong as they are, defense debuff doesn't really do that much. And they can use an attack called Diamond Dust, which is really threatening. But the big thing about them is that they can go multiple times per turn. They can go 2. So if you're in a fight with 2 silver dragons, well, boy, just, you know, you're praying. Gold dragons can go up to 3 times per turn, and their attacks is becoming very stronger. They can buff themselves up and then kill you. They can cast Zap, which is the only holy spell in the game. While it's not the most scary thing, it's just a very powerful attack. We will not learn Evil Aura.
And then what's that other ability the golds use that is also, isn't it on like it might be on the Sizzle Sword or something? It's on no, not Sizzle.
It's on the Gold Eye.
Gold Eye, yeah.
It's called Stardust Blow. It just kills.
It's just your run is over.
If you have an Apron Shield, you can sort of survive a little bit on Decker. If you don't have Decker with an Apron Shield, you're Stardust blown. That's all there is to it. No one else can really survive it. I don't think anyone in my party could survive a Stardust blow at this point, even with all the gear that I have managed to find.
Darby, please.
Oops, no, we don't mess around on Gold Dragons. We can handle a Copper Dragon attack, because even if things go wrong, and I only kill 1 in a round, I should be able to survive a second round, because I do outspeed them with Pia at the very least, and therefore get a whole extra Deadly Rod chance. Excuse me. We don't know exactly what would happen with a silver, though, because they are faster. Additionally, coppers you can inflict status ailments on. Golds you cannot, and silvers you cannot. So where you do have things called confused balls or that coma hit, where they guarantee a status ailment on a particular enemy, you can't put coppers. You can't put golds to sleep, and you can't confuse or freeze or paralyze the stupid coppers and silvers and golds. I'm sorry. So you just gotta be very careful with your means of dealing with golds at all. You always prioritize them. You only fight them if you ever have to. It's just you play it safe. You'll see there was a fight there. I've only had one, or looks like the stream might be down. I'm only fighting one particular dragon at a time. Even though there's a copper and a gold, I'm not fighting them both. I do not want to deal with failing to kill a gold, because there only is pretty much one option of a copper-gold combination in which the gold will not kill you outright in a single hit. It's just too much to gamble at this point. We're almost there, guys. Now, I am in a sticky situation in this hallway. But it looks like we're going to be okay. Hopefully. And for what's worth, chat, if you're asking, I am recording this locally, so if you're curious about seeing this uploaded, if I actually do get the kill at the end, yes, it is being recorded. I think I saw somebody ask that earlier. I don't know. See, at this point, there are only a couple of enemy types that spawn. There's either the dragons, or there's the Dark Summoners. Dark Summoners themselves, I didn't talk too much about, but they come in groups of 1, 2, 3, or 4. They go twice per turn, and they're very powerful mages, but the thing about them is they can teleport on top of you, and if they teleport on top of you, it makes it more difficult to kind of get around them, because it's difficult to run away from them, since they could just teleport again to where you're trying to avoid them from. Anything going on with the stream? Uh-oh.
There are
Looking into it.
Yeah. It's being worked on.
It's trying. Okay. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Gotcha.
I guess while the stream's hitching, I have it pulled up in a separate window, and I could try to do like the live sports action play-by-play, but the
Well, fortunately, you're not missing too much. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with Dark Summoners at this point, which is a very scary endeavor.
I do love how they put the apostrophe in there and abbreviate them just to make them cute. They're not Dark Summoner. He's just a Dark Summoner. They're
Dark
just here
Summoner.
to have a good time.
Just Summoners, not all ners. No, I'm being very cautious with them. This fight has 4. I can deal with them because they don't turn around when they're not wandering around like idiots, so I don't need to worry too much about just their general placement. Also, when dealing with 2 of them, I should be able to outspeed and kill them in one round because they only have a couple hundred HP. And even if there's only 1 and they call for backup, that means they're not hurting me, and I can deal with a couple of them still too, so I just gotta be a little bit more delicate with my operations. Now this dragon here is going to be forcibly removed pretty soon. I just have to be careful because if he's a set of gold, boy. If you lose track of your 3 and it's a set of gold or something, then you could be at high risk of death. But having Destroy available, like I said earlier, does make things a little easier. It is unfortunate that we have not yet learned Evil Aura. We are still in a situation where we don't have all the things that we really want for a kill. Again, having a Curse Lifter would turn this into a serious option. Not having a Curse Lifter means that his damage options are very limited. Lexus not having a Hydorok means that his damage options are limited. Not having Thunder means we don't have the best spell. That's about 60 to 90 damage that we're out of, and for what it's worth, that little tiny bit of damage could very well be the difference between a kill and not. I've had a marathon happen not too long ago where I was maybe 60 damage off of a kill, and it's very easy to just be stuck in a scenario where you're so close and you're just missing that one key element. But we've only got about 6 more floors to look for stuff.
Home stretch. I believe. Also, this game's taught me another fun little trivia. As you can tell, it makes perfect sense that it took George R. Martin 6 years to write A Dance with Dragons, because sometimes the dragons just don't want to dance back properly.
I like the way you put that. Boy, so we're being slow here just because we have to be meticulous. There isn't too much else to talk about. The only things that we're looking for again are Curse Lifters. There isn't really anything else that we could find that could help at all, except for a second Deadly Rod, which again we'd need another Curse Lifter for. If we were to find ourselves another Gades Blade, I think I would just die of laughter right here on the stream. So the run may go unfinished. I apologize for that. But I have a feeling that that's not going to happen given everything else that has happened in this run. We've got just enough IP on Lexus to have him able to use the Gorgon proc effectively. The Gorgon consumes about, I think, 76% IP or something, which is, well, of course a lot, but the Myth Blade is the only thing in the context of this run that takes 100% of the IP that we have. And that means that Link is the only person that needs all of that IP. Got kind of lucky here.
Feeling a little sad about Darby being such a slow learner for you, though. Like, come on already.
Yeah.
So many genies and dragons and minotaurs and.
Again, there have been times I've had a fight against no cores, where the cores all just ran away, and I was still able to learn the attack because the battles ended without death, which is a neat thing. It's just kind of weird to imagine going this far without learning a skill, but again, it goes to show that in a run like this, every little bit of RNG needs to be in your favor to some way. So we're pretty much entering the final countdown of floors. I've got a thing where I just need to find enough of one item to really help, or two items to really help. The floors themselves can spawn with a maximum of 8 chests per floor. That includes blue chests. So we do have a finite amount of things that we can just get our hands on. 8 chests is the maximum of what we could see on the floor. Of course, you could always have 0 or just maybe 1 or 2. So finding the stairs and finding every chest possible at this point, just to secure every little bit of things that we can, is pretty much mandatory if we want to secure it. That also means that we're going to have a limited number of enemies to kill, which means we don't have so many more battles to do. I want to avoid fighting Dark Summoners, just because them, like Gold Dragons, have the ability to just kill runs. But fighting coppers and copper-silver combos is still something that I can totally do.
The patience required at this point is also really impressive to me. Like, by the time I get to floor 90, I always start to get a little antsy and a little impatient. But just the way that you never attack a dragon if it's not from the back, and that is just an example of that expertise in action here, y'all.
Yeah, it's a very time-consuming process. It's extremely easy to just have one wrong move completely shred your ability to make it through. You saw when I was getting into a battle with those Archfiends earlier that I very, very luckily made it through the Archfiend at all, because it was nice and didn't do its mega attacks against me. It's so easy for things to go wrong, even against the Gold Dragon on floor 98, where you think, oh, let me just push it for that one last little chance to save a couple of seconds, and it just completely shreds your run. Of course, when you're going for, a PB or world record or whatever, you gotta be aggressive as heck. But as long as you're playing somewhat safely, you should be able to at least complete a run of this game. And that's the fun part, is when you complete the Ancient Cave, it feels good. You've accomplished a really interesting challenge. You've done something you normally wouldn't be able to do. And you actually get a reward to show off that you did it as well. You get a reward in a handful of different options. You get a rare treasure key that gives you access to a rare treasure room, which has 3 items that are pretty good in both the context of the main game and the Ancient Cave itself. You can, through an exploit, bring those rare treasures into the cave, although only one time. And it's just a neat thing to follow up a second run through. If you're looking for just a little added challenge, you can play through the Ancient Cave twice in a row. And in doing that, well, you'll be able to.
Incidentally, is that permitted on runs that do involve multiple cave dives? Like, if you're doing the beat it with every character challenge, or if you're doing an Iris percent, is it allowed to do that minor exploit to snag those victory treasures and bring them in?
Absolutely. There's a run category we have called ACAC, which is beating the cave with every character, which effectively means beating the cave 2 times in a row, because you could beat it with a group of 3 one time and then swap to the other group of 3 the other time. Of course, Maxim being the static party member that you have for all runs. So when you do that, you can definitely take advantage of that exploit and follow yourself in. Plus, with any blue chest things that you found on your way prior to, you, of course, follow the opportunity to bring a Gades Blade in on the second run, or just any number of armors. So you try and strategically think of ways to split up your party so that way, no matter who you have, you're bringing something reliably effective into the cave. Like bringing Guy in on your second run means that you double the chances of finding a Gades Blade for your run. If you can find it on the first run with Dekar, and then be completely safe. We just got an interesting situation here where I missed 3 destroys and a deadly rod. So you can imagine if I was fighting against a gold dragon, which would very likely outspeed me, I would be stuck, dying in counter. Fortunately, we didn't have that happen, and with just a handful of floors left, we really don't want that to happen. You're going to see me doing just some tap walking here. Teleporters move, or they teleport around every 3 steps that you take if you're close to them. Meaning that if you're far away from them, they just kind of wander around every 3 tiles. And that's not too scary, but again, you want to limit the amount of times you fight something that can kill you in a single hit. And I likely would not have had to engage in nearly as much combat if Darby would just learn his stupid thing.
It's okay, Darby. We still love you. You're still a good boy. He's just not learning this trick.
He's just not learning his trick. He's trying to be a good boy, but he's just not up there. It's unfortunate. Well, I got more miracles than I can count, though, so at this point, I'm really not too scared about things going wrong. As long as I play things safely. I got my deadly rod, which of course is helping. When I'm fighting against a single copper dragon like I just was doing there, there's not a whole lot that can go terribly awry.
Ellie, you only had 13 miracles. I can help you with that if you need to practice your counting. I don't mind.
I need all the help I can get at this point. After all these Gades Blade shenanigans that I've had happen today, I could use all the help I can get with any kind of counting, I think.
Each Gades Blade past the first breaks your brain. It's true. Oh, they kissed for a moment.
Yeah, they were sweet. I do want to fight these guys just to get a last little chance. I probably only got about maybe 4 to 5 rounds of combat left in the Ancient Cave before I get to the bottom, and I really want that evil aura to try to, get something out of it. So, again, if you have any more donations you'd like to read, that's going to be a boring next couple of minutes, honestly.
We don't have any more donations at the moment. However, if anybody in chat would like to change that, we still have the Dragon Ball Z Fight the Secret Boss incentive. That's still $77 away from being met. Keep in mind also we have some wonderful prizes that are up for grabs for Monday today. We have different prizes every day of the week. Type !prizes into the chat and you can see what we have to offer. We have some awesome stuff for the entire week of the marathon we have going on.
Well, thank you for that. Now, for what it's worth, chat, you're about to see something really interesting too. It's not related to battle, unfortunately. Oh, we just learned Evil Aura. Sorry, spoiler alert. Learned Evil Aura.
Hey, look, I'm sure you were so excited about that I don't think we mind the spoiler.
Unfortunately, that means I'm pretty much not getting in any more combat. I'd like to look around for more chests, but at this point I think I'm just going to have to suck it up and go for the kill. There's maybe 4 or 5 more chests I could realistically get outside of a party room that is strategically placed, because I've only got 2 more floors left, 97 and 98. Again, I do still have to be careful, because one wrong move could spell game over, so I'm being as careful as I can. But as long as I find the stairs on floor 98, I'm pretty much secured. I've had floor 98 party rooms happen before. Dragon's awful stuck up there. Alright. Last chance. And I spawned on top of the stairs for this last floor. Just double checking to make sure there's nothing else here. Nope. Alright guys, welcome to this glitched mess of a final floor.
Whose butt are we? Wait, wrong game. So what's the battle plan heading into the jelly here, Ellie?
The battle plan is to cry a lot and then cry some more. We're going to definitely take advantage of using our fractional attacks as early as possible to deal as much damage before we deal other types of damage. We don't have any useful buffs to increase the damage that we're going to do. Did I get 3 Gorgon rocks? Really? Wow. We're also going to... Now what this means, we're going to lead with Salon and Tia, pretty much, as well as Maxim. We also want to try to bump around our special weaponry, so that way Salon, with her 3x attack of this Mist Rapier, is going to help as much as it possibly can. Maxim's going to be camping in the front row, and we want to give him as much attack power as we possibly can, because he's going to be punching, but we also want Salon to have as much attack power, because she has that multiplier that's going to be dealing damage based, and that scales off of her attack. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton for Lexus to worry about, so we just want to boost his intelligence as much as possible, so that way he's slinging spells from the back row. And that's pretty much all we can really do to think about what our plan is for today. The only other options that we've got come in the form of using an IP ability that works with our party members, well, abilities in general. We have a couple of potions that we can use to bump up our stats by a bit, in particular a power potion, I'm giving Salon, and a mind potion, which I'm giving Lexus, because he's going to be our spell slinger. The speed potion is not going to matter, and our turn order is pretty much fixed based on our agility, so Salon going second means that Tia is going first, Maxim third, and then Lexus last. We're going to use all of our fractionals on turn 1, and then we're going to shuffle to just raw damage for turns 2, 3, and 4. I want to just do one last little bit that I can to try to capitalize on every little bit that I can get for damage here, because literally every point will matter, and I do need good RNG in my favor to get anything out of this.
So, in the words of Destiny's Child, do you think you're ready for this jelly?
I really don't, but fortunately we have a calculator that can help us figure out just how close we are. I'm going to be keeping track of it on screen to the best of my abilities, so as long as I play everything correctly, I should hopefully be okay.
Alright, well, I'm going to be quiet and just enjoy the show. Good luck.
Thank you. Battle Fury, just alright. Not as good as I hoped it would be. We have a Terminate from Darby, which is helpful. We're going to need a little bit more help here. It's going to be an extremely tight kill if we do manage to land it. I just don't think we will. Darby is cooperating though. Alright, we need some big hits, guys. Ooh. I don't think we've got it. I really don't. And as close as we are, that's unfortunate. So on the 4th turn, Jelly says, I'm out of here, and just runs away. We did everything about as optimally as I think I possibly could have. and
That-
I still came a little bit short.
That's still amazing, though. Like, switching over from any percent to reject on the spot, getting down here, only 556 left. I think we still need GG's out in chat for that run. I think you did an amazing job. That was something to see.
Well, thank you, chat. You enjoyed a ride that went on a little bit longer than I anticipated it going. Had I found a Curse Lifter or a Hydora Rock, I really think I would have been able to secure the kill. But, you know, sometimes just one little thing that comes against your favor. So, at this point, all we can do is leave the cave and consider it a day. Reminding ourselves that survivors of this cave are people of good fortune, and that future glory will eventually be ours. Thank you everyone for joining me on this romp through Reject Percent. I hope to give you guys a new, entertaining show next time.
Thank you very much for that run. That was absolutely awesome. Switching from any percent to reject just on the fly like that was fantastic. Thank you very much for that amazing show.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was a joy to run. Again, this is just, like I said, what happens when you just get so close and you realize that there's one little step in terms of things that are missing. But it was a fun run, and I was happy that you were all able to be a part of it. So, again, thanks for having me this time.
So,